really. Hello everyone, and welcome to another edition of Chud Watch. Very exciting news, and by very exciting I mean it means nothing to any of you, but I'm very happy I finally got my own YouTube custom URL. So it's no longer youtube.com/random series of numbers and letters. It's succinct, it's youtube.com/Hannah Reloaded. So if you ever need to find my channel very quickly for some reason, like it's an emergency, and there's a mugger, and they're like, give me your money or show me a YouTube channel that you like. There you go. You can get to it much faster and hopefully you won't be stabbed. So welcome to another episode of Chud Watch. I hope you're doing well on this Monday. I'm doing good today. I feel I'm in a good mood. I don't know why, but I'm feeling pretty good. So I hope you're all doing the same. They're all sus. What else do we got going on? I don't think I have any other news or anything. Yeah, not a lot going on. I hope you guys are having relatively uneventful days. Let's see what we got on the docket today for Chud Watch. First of all, Tate. Our man Tate. And I just want to say, if I had to make an Avengers team out of my favorite Chuds, Tate would be on the team. He would be the Hulk. He would be the Hulk because he gets irrationally angry for no reason. And he's going to tell us why we should, in all capital letters, stop reading books. So we'll find out why Tate has such an anger against books. We have Anthony Spade, who is a MGTOW guy. Speaking of which, I did, someone asked yesterday for me to make a MGTOW Red Pill playlist, and I did so. So that is all set up. So if anyone wants just me looking at red pillars or incels or MGTOW people, that playlist now exists on my channel, which again is at youtube.com/Hannah Reloaded now. Someone sent me this dude. I don't know anything about him, but his video that I was sent says, off topic, trans pronouns, free speech, and DMCA versus fair use for content creators. So this should be interesting. I don't know if it'll be good, but it'll be interesting. This one I'm pretty excited for. Star Trek Discovery Season 3 premiered, and the first episode's out. I thought it was good. Baha thought it was good. We both watched it. And it was enjoyable. If you didn't like Discovery Season 1, I understand. It was kind of a wreck in the first season. Season 2, I think, got a lot better. And so far, there's only been one episode of Season 3. But it was good. I enjoyed it. Doomcock here, on the other hand, really, really, really hates new Star Trek. And he's constantly making up lies or repeating ones on 4chan about how it's always on the verge of being canceled. It got renewed for Season 4 the other day, by the way. He still hasn't made a video about that. Maybe he's trying to dig his way out of the salt mine that was produced by his tears. But anyway, we'll see his review of the first episode of Star Trek Season 3, and that'll be fun. We have No BS talking about some Barbie show, or a Barbie YouTube channel doing a video about racism and how that's woke and that's bad, I guess. And that's what we have up today. I don't know. That's probably enough videos. That's about how many we normally get through, so. Dude Spanking Dudes with 10 bits. You did, in fact, mod me since I found you a ton of Chud channels. True. Hold on. Wait, was someone asking to be modded because they sent me stuff? Was that the context in which that happened? I'm not against having more mods, by the way. If you're someone who's around all the time and I, trust you, I don't mind making people mods, as long as you don't abuse it. Hello, Baha. Welcome to chat. Oh, yeah, you were just talking about that? Yeah, sure.
There's nothing funny about
Ask Compy with 10 bits. I'm a mod for Jake. I could be a mod for you too. I mean, I don't necessarily need more. I'm just saying, like, if someone wanted that, that would be fine. I'm not, like, so don't feel like I need you to if you don't want to. Because I understand. being a mod, I feel like you probably can't enjoy the stream quite as much because you gotta constantly be looking at chat for bullshit. So I get it. Right, that's the thing though, it's not necessary at the moment. At the moment, we tend to have enough mods that it's covered, and even I'm looking at chat too, so we're probably fine. I'm just, you know, if someone wanted it for some reason, and I know of them, it would probably be okay.
About the tools of capitalism.
Tucker White, if I can abuse my mod power, then Nah, we're not gonna abuse it. Dudes spanking dudes with 10 bits. It's a bit hard for me to allow messages sometimes since I don't know all the dog whistles. Yeah, I know. Tucker White 94, I'll be a mod for you. We'll discuss more mods when we need them. How about that? I really don't think we need extra ones right now, but if we end up in a situation, and this is probably going to be relative to the size of the channel, if we continue to grow and have more people in chat as time goes on, we'll probably have to expand the mod list at least a little bit, and then we can talk. Or if people who are mods currently, you know, stop watching for whatever reason, which happens, that's fine, I understand. I don't want anyone to ever feel like, by the way, if I made you a mod, if you just, like, stop watching for one reason or another, you get bored of it, or, like, you just don't have the time, I totally get that. Don't ever feel like you're like, oh, I don't really want to watch this stream, but I'm a mod, I better go do it. No. If you don't wanna, you don't have to, and that's completely fine, and I'll find other people to mod if that's, like, your prerogative. I don't ever want anyone to feel that way, for the record. Anyway, let's see, what should we do first? We have Tate talking about books, we have Anthony Spade, a MGTOW guy, we have this random dude talking about trans pronouns, free speech, and DMCAs, we have Doomcock, and we have No BS talking about Barbie. What do you guys think? There's a vote for Tate. Barbie. Someone votes not Tate. I can't just take a not vote. Okay, that doesn't count. Tate, Barbie, Tate, books, which is Tate, Barbie, ooh, okay. Set up a poll. Ah, that's so much typing. I'm gonna say it's a Tate win. I think Tate wins. And we'll do Tate, then we'll do Barbie, then we'll do Star Trek, then we'll do something else, okay? Sounds good. Is Doomcock the guy who runs a secret alt-right account? Allegedly. I do not have definitive evidence. Although someone, when I can talk about it a little bit more when we do the Doomcock video, but in the comments of the video in which I looked into Doomcock, someone did a much better investigation than myself and found some interesting stuff. Maybe we'll take a look at that. Anyway, let me turn this music off. So, first video today, Tate. Our man Tate has a video entitled Stop Reading Books. Because books are bad, I guess. Let's see why Tate doesn't want to do the books. See, okay, now we have a formal poll someone set up and now Barbie's winning. But I already started talking about Tate, so we're doing Tate. I'm sorry. So, Tate, why shouldn't we read books?
Stop asking me what books I read. I do not read books. I don't read books.
This is the least shocking news I've heard in a while.
Never read books. I've already told the story of the one book I've read in my adult life when I was in a jail cell. I don't read books any other time unless I literally am in jail. I refuse to.
Can I get that on a shirt? I do not read books any other time unless I am in jail. Tate. Andrew Tate.
To read books. And the reason I refuse to read books is because I do something that supplements reading books, and it's called living life.
This is like idiots who in their, like, Facebook profile, and it says, like, education, like, they're asking what school you went to, if you went to college, or even if just high school, and they go, the school of life, or the school of hard knocks. I don't need your stinking book-learning, city folk. I learned everything I need to know by going out in the mud and rolling around with the pigs. Or I went around and I know a lot of crack dealers, so I know how to live life. I don't need your stinking books. Genius. Tucker White 94, to be fair, I'm not a fan of books either, other than manga. I'm more of a film person, sure. I have a hard time, and this might be the ADHD, which I'm still not properly medicated for. I really need to call and make another appointment with my person who does that. They tried a couple of ADHD medications, and neither of which did anything to me. And then I was supposed to call and make a third appointment, and I kind of lost focus and never did that, which... ironic. Anyway, I gotta do that, but I have a hard time reading books in text. Comic books are okay because there's other stuff going on with the art and whatever, but like I have a hard time sitting down and reading a book. So I do audiobooks a lot. I haven't lately because I'm with Baja. I'm with Baja less now because she had to go back to work, but especially over the last year or so, we were together all the time, and I like to listen to audiobooks. Like, I don't know, kind of on my own because it feels weird. Although we did listen to some Doctor Who audio dramas, but those are a little different. I like audiobooks, though, because it's easier for me to pay attention to what's going on as opposed to reading text. I don't know if that has to do with the ADHD or not. But books are a good thing. Any source of information is a good thing, whether it's a book or if it is a film or a documentary. You can learn things from fiction, even if it's not actual, like, oh, this thing is literally true. You know, books and television that are fiction often have some sort of moral messaging or have little granules of truth in them. But, like, just letting information in your head outside of your own personal experience is very important. You're not going to learn everything you should about the world if you're entirely relying on your own personal experience. You're just not. Your own personal experience is very limited, which is why you read books or view movies or whatever you happen to do. Thank you, Abby, my dudes, for subscribing with a 3-month streak. Dude spanking dudes. By the way, shill time, even if we all turn out, we can still kind of support Hannah by watching ads for free bits. True. Is there any other ones I missed? No, I think I got it.
Reading books is a very cheap way to, I guess, entertain. I wouldn't call it entertainment because my brain is far too advanced.
I would give anything. I would give anything to be locked in a room with Tate, and he has to comply, and I say to him, Tate, read this page out loud, and I want to see how competent he is at reading. Just make him read a sentence. You know, like when you were in school and you maybe read Shakespeare or something, and you had to, like, go around and read, you know, paragraph by paragraph or page by page, and occasionally you'll get to the one student who, it's very sad. I'm not making fun of this person because it's not necessarily their fault. I would blame Tate because Tate is, like, proudly ignorant, so I feel like Tate would get to it and be like, God, what's a line from a Shakespeare thing that I know off the top of my head? Romeo? Romeo, wherefore art thou Romeo? I have a feeling Tate's relationship with literacy is tenuous at best. I feel like Tate's relationship with literacy is the same of his relationship with many women. That is to say, abusive.
I'm too smart to read. I'm not gonna sit there and go, smart people read. No. I need action. I need constant chaos in my life to feel content. I need to be driving a supercar and fucking fighting, fucking a bunch of hoes and champagne and going crazy. I can't just sit there, oh, and the pirate on the boat. Like...
That's how books are, right, folks? And the pirate on the boat. Tate hasn't read a book since he was 6 years old, so I think that's how we think books work for adults. And the pirate was on the boat. The boat was very big. The boat floated down the river.
It's for people with slow brains. You know, there's different kinds of intelligence, and there are smart people with slow brains. But the smartest people in the world also have quick brains. My brain moves quickly, and I...
How do I put this? You could be the Flash, okay? But if you're tripping over every little thing, then the speed doesn't really help you. And that's how I would compare Tate's thoughts. Tate might think very, very quickly, but there's so little content and context for what is in his brain, it's useless to move that fast.
I can't read a book. I can't read a book.
That's probably an honest statement from Tate.
I can't do it. There's no book thrilling enough. It's the same reason why I can't watch TV. I cannot watch Netflix. I can't.
Does Tate have, like, super ADHD and he doesn't realize it?
Because if I sit and
There's nothing funny about the tools of capitalism.
Dudes spanking dudes with 10 bits, you know it's bad when I, a person who believes in tarot cards and shit, is smarter than Tate.
Netflix on, I end up just sitting on my phone. Because my phone, I can do a whole bunch of stuff, and Netflix is just background noise. It's not enough to entertain me. No show is thrilling enough. I can barely...
Have you tried Breaking Bad, Tate? Tate. Watch Breaking Bad. It's fantastic.
watch YouTube videos. Because people talk so slowly. Have you ever YouTubed something? Like how to use your phone's camera. Whatever, some bullshit.
Who doesn't know how to use their camera?
Hi, welcome to the channel today. And today I'm going to show you how to use your phone's camera. So before we start, if you'd like and subscribe, skip. I can't even fucking listen to their shit for more than 3 fucking seconds. It pisses me off.
Does Tate think being annoyed by the preamble to a lot of YouTube videos is unique to himself? Because I think a lot of people don't like that, but nonetheless it's something as a YouTuber you kind of have to do to maintain your channel. It's not... You're not... Oh god. Tate here reminds me of those people in high school who are like, I'm not like other girls. I go to Hot Topic and wear dark lipstick. Like, yeah, a lot of people are like that, Tate. That's not as unique as you might think.
Everything's slow, and reading books is exceptionally slow. So how do I supplement the knowledge that books provide?
Also, can I comment on this? I wasn't gonna say anything, but I just get more and more curious as this video goes on. What the... What's this? Is this, does Tate have a panic room? Or is this just a safe where he keeps illicit drug money? I feel like if you have a super secure safe, you don't want to put it on camera, like in the... right there. I don't know. Seems like kind of a weird thing to put in frame.
And how did I become such a genius? Well, there's 2 answers to that question. 1, I don't think books provide knowledge. Books provide information, but information is not knowledge.
You hear that? Everyone who's ever learned a thing from a book, which is literally everyone who's read literally any book. That information you have isn't knowledge, because I'm arbitrarily going to decide that information isn't knowledge. I'm Tate. I kicked people in the face for a living. Boom. Knowledge bomb.
My kickboxing coach used to say to me, there's one way to learn a lesson, the hard way. And there's only one other way to learn a lesson, the harder way. And it's absolutely true. You have to feel it to believe it.
It's not a particularly good platitude. Which is why his kickboxing coach is actually also the world's #1 neurosurgeon, the world's #1 geneticist, the world's #1 historian. They just learned everything they needed to know about life and for the humanity, or for the survival of humanity, just by getting kicked in the face a bunch. It's really weird how that works. Oh, this is just an ad for his shitty self-help bullshit.
All the books in the world about how getting married is stupid and you're gonna get divorce raped in the West and the woman's gonna take all your money. But you're gonna meet some chick and fall in love with her and marry her anyway because you're an idiot. But if you get divorce raped once and you won't do it again, there's only one way to learn a lesson, the hard way. So you may be reading all this information, but do you
Nah, you don't have to ban that word. It's fine.
know anything? No, you don't know anything. You only know things by doing things, by living. So one of the ways I supplement the fact that I never read is I live. And I live a very interesting life, and I do what I want all the time, and I have the capability to do anything I want to do. So while you'll sit and read about Taoism or Stoicism like a dork,
I'm pretty sure it's pronounced Taoism, which you may have learned if you'd actually read a book, Tate.
I can fly to China and go into a Taoist temple and say I want to live here for a month.
Taoist. No, they're not just gonna take you just because you show up and you're rich. Third of all, most people can't do that, Tate. We know you're relatively wealthy. I'm happy for you. Not really, I think Tate, out of all people, should not have the money that he has. He's an idiot. But most people can't do that. A lot of people don't even want to do that. Like, just because I'm interested enough in a certain topic to read a book about it or watch a documentary about it doesn't necessarily mean I want to go there. A good example, last night after I got off stream, I watched multiple documentaries because we watched a video on a tanky talking about North Korea. Excuse me. So I went and watched a couple documentaries about North Korea. Very interesting, very cool to watch, but that doesn't mean I want to go to North Korea, right?
I can do these kind of things. So I live my life. All of my knowledge, everything I've ever said in these Tate speeches comes from things I've lived, things I've done. I do things. And I don't want anyone to ever think that reading something is the same as doing something, because doing something will teach you lessons far faster than reading anything. Try and do.
Hear that, surgeons? Stop reading these hoity-toity books on anatomy and surgical technique. Just crack open someone's chest and start digging around. You'll figure it out, okay? That's what Leonardo da Vinci did. He just took a bunch of dead bodies and was like, oh, what's this? You gotta do that, okay? Stop with all this sissy book learning. Ugh. Thank you to, Comrade Darky, thank you for following.
I'll give an example. I can't play piano, you can't play piano. There's a piano here. I sit there and start trying to play piano by myself, just pressing keys.
Is he legit gonna try and say that he can learn how to play piano just by randomly fucking around with it? I'm not saying that's impossible. I'm sure there are people who have learned to play the piano just by ear and by messing around with it themselves. But the vast majority of people are not going to be able to learn effectively that way. You either, if you can, get a teacher who can teach you how to do it, or if you can't afford that or don't have access to a teacher, then you should get a book and read it and learn how to play the piano. You'll learn much quicker with a guide than if you're just like, this is a key, this is a key, this is a key. And also, there are things that you're just straight up not going to learn just by messing around. Like, if you want to learn how to read music for the piano and you want to learn how to read sheet music, you can't just mess around and learn that. You need to read a thing that'll teach you, okay, this is what this symbol means, this is what this symbol means, this is the staff, this is what all the different notes are. Like, you can't just stumble across that.
Fucking around, trying to get stuff that sounds good, fucking around with the pedals, whatever. Another guy sits there and only reads a book about piano and doesn't touch the piano. In 6 months, who will be able to play piano better, me or him?
Someone who read a book. Someone who read a book will be able to learn piano faster than you, Tate.
Me, because I've been doing things while he's been reading things.
You don't just read, though, when you're learning to play piano, Tate. You learn by reading the book. Usually in front of the piano, you set it up on the thing, and then you F around with it. You don't literally just read a book when you're talking about practical knowledge like that. Anything, like let's say it's a book on small engine repair. You don't just read the book, you read the book in conjunction with actually messing around with whatever small engine you have, right? Like to fix your lawnmower or something. What do you like, and we're only talking about practical application books here, right? We're not even talking about, like, fiction, because fiction is a different thing. You usually read fiction for entertainment, right? Fiction is for entertainment or, I don't know, would reading something just because it has a historical significance, that would fall under entertainment, I would say. reading fiction is typically for entertainment or for understanding a certain author or something if you're reading it for a class. But there are also, like, books that are nonfiction, but they're informative, right? Like, I'm not, like, if I read, The Universe in a Nutshell by Stephen Hawking, or the other one he did, which I also have, which A Brief History of the Universe, right? I'm not going to become a physicist, but it's interesting. It's recreational, informational reading. That's a thing people do. Tate, read a book, please!
Reading isn't real life.
We know, Tate. It gives you information that other people have gathered about real life, because no one person can explore and understand everything and discover it for themselves. So what we do as a species, and this is why, by the way, Tate, we have cars and homes and computers and the internet. We have that because people share their knowledge with each other in the written form. If we didn't have the written word, we'd still be back, like, living in small city states without a whole lot of technology, because every individual person would have to learn things all for themselves, maybe with the help of someone who's older than them, like a apprenticeship, right? Like, that's fine, but the fact that we have the written word and can share knowledge with each other is why humanity has been able to succeed as much as we have. For anyone in 2020 on the internet to be like, book learning is stupid. It's one of the most profoundly ignorant things I can imagine, and it's kind of hilarious. It swings towards super depressing, but then it's so ridiculous it swings back around to being very, very funny to me. Cascadia93 with 10 bits. I learned how to play the keyboard by ear. I learned how to produce music by reading. Yep. There are things you have to read about if you want to learn it, you know?
All the time you spend reading, if you were to fuck it off and spend living, you would learn more, if you did the right things. The problem is with most of you dorks, you're either broke or you're lazy, so if you throw reading away, then what you're going to do is just watch TV. You're not going to do anything. But if you were to actually go living instead, you'd learn things.
Is Tate's advice to poor people just stop being poor? Because if you read a book, Tate, you might know why that's a stupid thing to say.
That's one of the first points I have about reading. The second point I have about reading is, another reason I don't read is because I play chess. And when you play chess, chess is completely different than reading. Because reading is static. Reading is just...
You love how Carl Sagan talked about reading. Can you share the quote? Sure.
Information, consume the information, brag that you read it. Chess is constantly...
Why was that a thing edited into the video?
Changing and evolving and moving. No two chess games are the same. So it's very much like life. You have to apply knowledge you know on an unfamiliar situation at all times. It's completely unfamiliar. So chess supplements reading
There's nothing
completely.
funny about the
No, it doesn't. Chess does not supplement reading. What are you talking about? Tate, can you learn about, I don't know, foreign affairs or domestic policy or science or math or history from chess? No. Chess, you'll learn about chess. And chess is a great game, but, like, it's not a supplement for reading books. Tate, stop. Dude spanking dudes with 10 bits. Does he not know you can read books for free? It's called a library. I don't know. I don't know what Tate thinks. There are books on chess.
Choose between the two, choose chess. I think the only reason people read nowadays anyways is because it's an easy way to gain some kind of bragging.
You know how to play chess, but you don't know how to win chess. That pretty much explains how I feel about it, too. I know what all the pieces do, but I don't know how to use that information effectively.
Rights. It's bragging rights without pain. It's bragging rights without danger. Hey, you seen all these books I read? You sat still, and you turned pages. So, like, if I'm going to brag about shit I did which others can't do. Dangerous things.
Tate, remember that time you went... You were going to go skydiving, and then you got into the class to do the skydiving, and you chickened out? What is that about living life to its fullest and having experiences? Tucker White 94 with 10 bits. This whole video is basically the plot to a Fairly Odd Parents episode. I don't remember that episode.
It takes balls, because the current education system is read, read, read. It's not do, do, do. It's read, read, read.
I mean, it would depend on what you're talking about. Yeah, a lot of classes involve reading because that's an effective way to learn information. But if we're talking about like a science class, usually, at least in my experience in my schooling, and I'm just talking about high school here because I dropped out of college because I suck. I'd like to go back someday. But if we're talking about like high school, yeah, we did experiments alongside the reading to demonstrate that what we were reading was practical knowledge that's true. In terms of like a history class, you can't learn history practically outside of like visiting somewhere like, I don't know, Gettysburg and having a tour guide talk to you about that. But even before that, you're going to read about it so you know the context within, you know, which you are exploring this historical place. If we're talking about an English class, that's about, like, speaking and writing and reading English. So, reading in and of itself is the doing in that class. I really don't know what you think you're talking about, Tate. Tate, schooling involves both reading and practical application skills.
And that's why most people who come out of school can't do shit. That's why college and university is a complete waste of time.
You should kick people in the face like me. Everyone should do that. We'll have a whole economy based on kicking people in the face. Tate doesn't understand how the economy works. Carl Sagan, quote, "What an astonishing thing a book is. It's a flat object made from a tree with flexible parts on which are imprinted lots of funny dark squigglies, but at a glance at it, and you're inside the mind of another person, maybe somebody dead for thousands of years. Across the millennia, an author is speaking clearly and silently inside your head, directly to you. Writing is perhaps the greatest of human inventions, binding together people who never knew each other, citizens of distant epochs. Books break the shackles of time. A book is proof that humans are capable of working magic." That is a nice quote.
I did not go to university. The most successful people I know did not go to university. I do not have 4 years to dedicate to sitting there reading.
Tate, your definition of success is how much money you have, which is a problem, I think, in the Western world in general, that's our bar for success. Have a lot of money. I don't think you're a successful person, Tate, because I don't think your value is measured by the digits in your bank account. I think it's measured by who you are as a person morally. Most of it's morally, but also if you're self-actualizing and trying to be a good version of yourself and trying to better yourself and learn new things, that's also great. You know what I mean? Like, Tate, I know you think the end-all be-all of your existence is getting a ton of money and sleeping with a lot of women. If that makes you happy, that's your business. I don't really care. But it seems like a pretty shallow, empty excuse for a life to me. And it seems that you're trying to compensate for the fact that that life is empty by telling other people to actually try and improve themselves by reading books or just entertain themselves by doing so. You're trying to tell them that they're lesser because they might have less money than you, that you got for kicking people in the face and buying Bitcoin. Like, I do not have... I wish I read more books so I would have more words and I could string them together in a more verbose way to explain how stupid and morally vacuous I find Tate to be. I have not read enough books to insult this man properly.
Reading books of outdated knowledge when all the latest information in the world's on my internet Google browser for free anyway, and listen to some dork who's never made any money in his life tell me how to live my life. It's complete garbage. If you meet anyone who's successful near any field, most of them didn't go university. Now, I understand there's some professions where you need to go university to become a doctor, blah, blah, blah. I understand that. My point is, in general, is that the whole education system is not based on doing things, it's based on reading things.
Right, you read things so you're prepared to do those things. Yeah, Tate, that's how basically every skill set in the world works. You go to school, and if you're a lawyer, you read about the law, and then you learn how to apply that law, either in contract law or in actual, like, court. If you're a doctor, the same applies. You read so you know how to treat patients or whatever your specialty happens to be. If you're a teacher, you read about methods of teaching and on whatever topics you're going to cover, and then you apply those things by teaching students in your student teaching, and then once you finally get your full degree in your teaching career, this is just, you're just describing how things work when you don't kick people in the face for a living. I genuinely think Tate is very insecure about himself, and instead of, like, admitting that there are things that he could improve himself on, maybe reading every once in a while, or by, like, learning more about the world around him outside of just going places and trying to sleep with women, instead he just like, no, I'm not wrong, let me demonize people who read books. It's very, very strange. Doesn't Tate sell his system to people who haven't done anything? Yes. It's hilarious that he's saying this right now, because Tate's entire system, which you can pay money for, thousands of dollars on some of these. Like, this is just literally Tate's war room. This is 1,397 pounds to enter this chat room. It's just a chat room for people who pay stupid amounts of money to Tate. This is 337, whatever, for this program. This one's 500. This one's 1,000, 200, 500. Just so, like, Tate will talk to you and tell you things. The fact that Tate is shitting on books when his entire program is just the same idea as books, but for people who don't want to read, it's hilarious.
And this is why, if you want information on how to get something done, you need to speak to somebody who can do stuff. So if I'm going to learn piano, I want to learn piano from somebody who plays piano, not somebody who's read how to play piano.
Tools of capitalism.
If you get a piano teacher, they're going to tell you to get a book, and in the week while you're not actually in the class, they're going to say, okay, read this and practice these exercises. It all works together, Tate. Why do you think it's one or the other? The vast majority of learning takes place both with books and with practical application. Tucker White 94, Hannah, I think you're in the wrong line of work. Tate is the best grift going. I guess. I don't feel like I'm as immoral as him. I don't think I could do it, unfortunately. You mean the thing I do with you for 10 bits a pop? True. That is true. This whole stream is a scam. Good job. Yep. Supporting me with your bits. It's apparently a scam now.
I don't want someone to give me a book and say, read this and we'll talk through it together. No, I want you to play piano, motherfucker, right here in front of me, and I want to watch you do it, and I want to try and see you do it. I want to learn from you. This is going to all tie into one more thing called My Hustlers University. My Hustlers University is every single lesson I have ever learned in my business career. I've run over...
Tate, what happened to telling people to do things? Now it's not about doing things, it's about listening to someone else talk about what they've done. You're just describing reading, but without writing it down. You're just doing, assuming these are videos, you're basically just doing audiobooks explaining the things you've learned from what you've done. You could just as easily write this down into a book and sell it. It's the same exact thing.
For 100 companies, I've won with some, I lost with others, etc., and I have 100 stories with 100 business lessons that are going to teach you everything about making money from the ground up. Because what you'll notice in your life, ladies and gentlemen, is nobody has ever sat there with you and said, this is how you make money. They've said, get a job, maybe, or, you know, drop shipping or some garbage. But no one's ever sat there and go, okay, cut the bullshit. This is the real world. This is how you make money. Any field, any profession, doesn't matter if you have investment money, doesn't matter if you're starting with nothing.
Tate, there have been plenty of, like, make money books. There have been plenty of make money programs. This isn't a new thing. Donald Trump wasn't, you know, publishing The Art of the Deal back in the 80s. The idea of having a program or a book that says, like, here's how you can succeed in business, it's not even close to a new idea. It's one of the most saturated BS markets out there. Like, ooh, there's like self-help books that are often a super saturated market full of people trying to grift other people. But then there's also this sort of self-help where it's like how to make $1 million, how to succeed in business, how to yada 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 blah 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 blah. This is an incredibly saturated market because everyone who has money thinks they have like the way to get rich. Even people who don't have money, and that's why they publish the book, to get money.
Doesn't matter if you're rich, poor, doesn't matter if you already have a business, looking for a business idea, doesn't matter if you have an idea and you don't know how to launch it, doesn't matter. This is the framework, no matter what. This is how you make money from anywhere in the world, like this. Nobody's ever done that before, except for me. I've done that in my Hustlers University. I teach you everything.
Does Tate think he's the only successful business person on the planet? He should probably read a book and learn that that's not the case. And in fact, in the pantheon of successful business people,
There's nothing funny about the tools of
he's probably not that high on the list. Wind Chanter with 10 bits, but Hannah, Tate is too busy drop shipping supercars into Romania to scam people, let alone kick down enough trees to make a whole book.
anything but inspect this temple of capitalism.
Liability Lefty, thank you for raiding with 5 raiders. Welcome, raiders. We're looking at Tate, telling us why books are bad. Go check out Liability Lefty's channel.
The tools of capitalism.
Mitchell Drummer with 25 bits. Hey Hannah, I made a Chud Watch bingo card. Can we play it? It'll I'll give the free sub to whoever wins. If you want, but I'm not doing the gifting on this one. I can only afford to do it once a week on Tinfoil Tuesday. But if people want to play this, they sure can. Let's see what I have on my bingo card. Soy, arresting people for misgendering, moving goalpost, struggling to read. I'm going to count struggling to read from the Tate video, because I feel like the underlying theme of that entire video was basically...
There's nothing funny about the tools of capitalism.
was basically he struggles to read. Cascadian93, after listening to a lot of wrestlers talk about their life, combat sports athletes often do have big self-image issues. Many work out like crazy to get their self-loathing out of their system. I think the best examples of this are Chris Benoit and Eddie Guerrero. Chris was so obsessed that he took roids while he was dealing with severe CTE, making him so angry and depressed he murdered his wife and son, then himself over the weekend. Ooh, that's dark. Islamophobia, American Dream, saying SJW in 2020, degenerate strawman, homogenous culture, rant Sona, virtue signaling, gender equals sex, complaining about minority protagonist, grifting, grifting, that's for sure the Tate video, red black pill, liberal equals left equals Democrat, defending rapist, LGBT equals pedophilia, vague gesturing and imagined hypocrisy, word salad, I'm a leftist, tokenism. Hold on, let me save this all so I can have this for future things. Thank you for making a bingo card, that's fun. Can we count word salad? I don't think Tate's word salad. Tate's stupid, and what he said is dumb, but I don't think that was word salad-y. I don't know what all the stuff on the bingo card is, for the record, because this is the first time I've seen it. Nah, don't do the bingo command, because it's just gonna bring up the Tinfoil Tuesday bingo. This is a different thing. But, yeah. Cool.
Everything you need to know on how to make money. Exactly, we used to
Thank you for making the bingo card, sincerely. That's very cool.
piano analogy one more time. Imagine you were to go up to a piano guy. A guy playing piano is the best pianist you've ever heard. He's a bad boy. And you go up and say, look, I want you to teach me how to play piano. You're going to know how to play piano. Exactly the same with me. Multi-millionaire, I'm going to sit down with you one-on-one and teach you.
Tate, here's the thing, though. That's not an effective way of passing on knowledge to other generations, because every good piano player can't take the time to train people all the time. If you're a concert-level pianist and you're, like, doing shows at Carnegie Hall, I don't know, you don't have time in your schedule to go and teach a bunch of other people about piano. So maybe you write a book and you're like, here are things that I learned, here's what helped me learn, and then it's available to anyone who can get the book. Whether they buy it or get it at their local library or whatever, that's the purpose of a book, Tate. Books don't just appear from the ether. An expert, or someone who's like a fiction writer, if we're talking about fiction, takes their thoughts and puts them down into a medium that allows anyone to go and access it. That's why books are good, Tate. It takes the expert feelings and thoughts of someone who is really good at piano, and instead of having to interface with them, you can just read the book.
Everything there is to know about making money. No reading, no time wasting, action, and cash.
Tate is so embarrassing.
Making money. Nobody goes to university and
Another ad for his shitty self-help service.
leaves knowing how to get rich. And if you look at all the richest people in the world, or all the most successful people, they'll say, I didn't go to school, or I quit university, I dropped out. Because you're not learning anything about getting rich. I don't know about you. All I ever want to do is get rich. I didn't give a fuck if I got rich breaking rocks or got rich being a professional fighter. I didn't care. I want money. Congratulations, you're about to learn. This is
I don't understand the pursuit of wealth as an end in and of itself. I understand the thought within a capitalist system, because we all feel this, because that's like the motivator in a capitalist system is, hey, do things, make money, or you will die. So I understand wanting to get to a point where you are reasonably compensated and you can afford to live a comfortable life, right? I'm not wealthy, but I have a house. I like the house. I'm moving in with Baja next year, but that's okay, because we're also moving into another house. I'm fine as long as I have a place to live. I just don't like living in an apartment. But, like, I don't need to live in a mansion. I'm happy having a house that's just comfortable. It has enough space for me and for my stuff. And that's it. I don't really feel the need to accumulate a bunch more wealth. Would it be good to have a safety net? Yes, I will try and save money as I get older, especially for hopefully someday I can retire and not just do this when I'm 90 years old. Although that would be fun. That would be fun if I'm doing this when I'm very, very old. It's not a very strenuous job that I couldn't do it as an old person, but who knows. But this constant, like, obsession with wealth in and of itself as an end is so weird. I don't want money so I can have more money. I want money so someday I can retire with, like, Baja comfortably. Or I want money so I can make sure we have food. Or I want money to make sure that I can, like, pay bills. It's not about, like, I just want money because money good. It's so strange. So strange. Which one do I have on my bingo card? We have soy, arresting people for misgendering, moving goalposts, struggling to read, blames feminism, strawman, degenerate, saying SJW in 2020, American dream, Islamophobia, homogenous culture, rantsona. I'm not sure what rantsona means. Virtue signaling, gender equals sex. Is rantsona something like someone like Doomcock? Like, is Doomcock a rantsona because it's like a character he's playing? Defending R-word, liberal equals left equals Democrat, red pill, black pill. Grifting, complaining about minority protagonist, LGBTQ equals pedophilia, vague gesturing, and imagined hypocrisy, word salad, I'm a leftist, tokenism. That's what I have. No BS, undoomed. Yeah, okay, cool. Thought so. Anyway, Tate's fascinating, to say the least. All of us watching Hannah from our hover rocking chairs in 60 years.
The tools of capitalism.
Stone Corbell, rantsona is like when someone has a little drawing of a furry or whatever that changes slightly between shots. Sort of give the uploader's reaction. But, like, Doomcock counts too? Okay, I would say so, because even though it's not like an image, he's still, like, making himself anonymous by wearing a mask, so. Like Logic is, you know, similar. He's live action, but he's wearing, you know, stuff. Joke's on you, you won't be alive in 60 years. Yeah, probably not me either, but, you know. 60, 70, 80. Yeah, it depends. It's a real crapshoot genetically for me, because I am in the process of losing weight. So as I get older, I will be, you know, in a healthy weight for most of my life, which will be nice when I get there. But, like, my family has some people in it who live really old, and they're quite healthy looking for their age. And then I have other side of the family where it's not looking so hot. So I don't know if that'll even out or what, but... Have you missed the danger of books? You did. We just finished. I'm sorry. Anyway, that's enough of Tate. Bye, Tate. Maybe work on just all of it. So the second person in the poll was this no BS video on Barbie. Barbie has a YouTube channel, apparently, where Hasbro posts little Barbie shorts or something. And there's one about racism, and no BS, being an adult middle-aged man, has a lot to say about this Barbie short for little girls. And clearly, his opinion matters the most because he is a straight cis white man. Let's watch, shall we?
Hello and welcome back to No BS.
Rantsona. Click.
Today we return to talking about major companies and corporations getting woke in an effort to try to get their customer base to think that they're virtuous, and also secretly, obviously, they're trying to make more money. They do this woke stuff as a way to...
It's not secret. Everyone knows companies are trying to make more money. It's like their entire purpose. We know, no BS. We know. But people do like when companies reflect the morality of themselves back at them. Like, we can talk about, like, woke brands. Lindsay Ellis has a really good video on woke brands. I think H-Bomber Guy has a video on a similar topic. Like, this has been discussed to death. And it's recognized that this is, like, a questionable tactic, and it comes off as tacky a lot of the time. But nonetheless, a lot of the content that we get in our everyday lives, especially for children, is filtered through this corporate, mesh, where it's got to go through focus groups and it's got to go through whatever. So the majority of our media being corporate in nature, at the very least, I'm glad if some sort of morality or moral lesson is being filtered through these messages. I'm glad they're positive ones, like recognizing that racism's bad, because it is. And I'm sure no BS in this video will be like, oh, but racism doesn't exist. It does. It does, unfortunately. I wish it didn't. I really do. But it does, so it warrants discussing, especially to kids who are going to be around it and need it contextualized for them.
Pander and to say, hey, we're...
Cascadia93 with 10 bits. I will agree with no BS. It's right. He's right that companies that make money off the pinnacle of female body shaming, it's trying to be woke. Oh, yeah, because it's from Barbie. I get what you're saying. There's certainly a level of hypocrisy that comes out of a lot of these companies when they're talking about these things. I totally agree.
Good company. We should be watched. We should be helped. You guys should shop here. And then they expect people to buy their products. It's pretty transparent. It's pretty cheap. It's pretty much exploiting the causes they pretend to be behind. And this story, this example of today is really no different. It's a new one, though. It's pretty interesting. It's got a video to go along with it. Today, we're talking about Mattel's famous toy called Barbie. For those who don't know, Barbie is this doll for girls. It's very famous. It's pretty much one of the most popular...
He's right for the wrong reason, basically. Yeah.
Ones in the history. It's been around for many decades in America. They're essentially these girl Barbies. They're maybe a foot or two high, depending on the size. They're not that big. And the girls, they decorate them. They put clothes on them. They get different versions. You could get a Barbie that's say, for example, a Barbie that's a doctor, a Barbie that's a swimmer, a Barbie that plays tennis, things like that. There's all kinds of versions of it.
Who doesn't know what Barbie is? I agree. I think most people know.
And today, this classic toy company is jumping into the woke cesspool.
The woke cesspool? Oh no, racism is bad. Cesspool!
Video is what we're going to go over today. They recently posted this video on their popular YouTube channel. It's called Barbie and Nikki Discuss Racism. Really weird right away. Like, why are these toys even getting into this? I don't know why they feel the need to come up with this stuff.
Moral messaging for children is nothing new. Moral messaging for children's shows, and this is like a short... I think I've heard of this before. I forget what video I watched that referenced this, but there was some video that referenced this series. I guess there's like a whole series of like Barbie vlogs, and they're, I guess, very successful for Hasbro in terms of marketing material. Which makes sense. I get it. Kids like vloggers on YouTube. Turn a toy into a vlogger. That makes sense. It basically becomes a children's show in and of itself. And that's fine. There's nothing inherently wrong with that outside of the whole, well, it's advertising to kids and it's blatant and it's weird. Sure. But I don't think there's anything inherently wrong with the idea that this is a kid's show. So this is a kid's show. Kids shows moralize to children all the time. This is not new. This is something that kid shows have been doing for decades. It's about teaching kids different moral lessons in a short, succinct time span. Everything from He-Man to Transformers to Adventure Time to the Powerpuff Girls. Every show in the history of kids shows almost has done some form of moral messaging along the way. Whether that moral is something in, like, I don't know, My Little Pony Friendship is Magic, whose moral is like, you can do anything with friends, or something like that. I haven't really seen the show, but that's my guess. Or, I don't know, what's another show that's good? Or like Powerpuff Girls, where a lot of the messaging is like, hey, it's fine that they're like little girls and enjoy girly stuff, but they're also like superheroes, yay. Kid shows have moral messaging, all the way to things like Captain Planet, that very badly try and show kids like, hey, polluting's bad, which it is, but they do it in a very silly way. Moral messaging in TV shows is not a new thing. So if you are saying you don't like this, all you're saying and all you're revealing about yourself is that you don't like the specific moral message that they're getting across. If you don't care about the millions of other examples of children's shows, including A Message for Children, and you hone in on this one, all you're saying is, I don't like this specific moral message, and the moral message here is, racism's bad. It's not even an original message for kid shows. When I was a kid, 20 years ago, like, they still had racism is bad messages in shows.
About the tools of capitalism.
Antipodian Squid, how dare you, Hannah? Captain Planet was art, if you say so. Andrew Dickerson with 10 bits. I voted today in Texas. For the national and state elections, I voted Democrat, but with the local elections, since I won't be living in that town anymore, I voted for whoever had the funniest name. Oh, God. That's horrifying. Don't do that. Tucker White 94. Thank you for voting, though. Vote, people. Tucker White 94 with 10 bits. If No BS is asking why a children's show is talking about morals, what does he think fairy tales are, right? This isn't even like a thing that's new with the advent of television or radio or anything like new media. It's about, like, moral messaging for children is something human beings do. Folk tales did this.
Hey, everybody.
Hey, everyone.
So there is a huge movement going on. People, millions of people across the world are standing up to fight.
Guys, the voice of Barbie does not match the design for the character, like, at all to me. Maybe it's just me. That's a very weird mismatch. I didn't expect that voice to come out of Barbie.
And something I noticed from the imagery right away, it's basically a black Barbie on the left. It's kind of the same character model. This is some real kind of advanced computer graphics here. They have this kind of...
I'm pretty sure she has a name in the show. Let's look. It would take 5 seconds to Google this. Barbie characters. Doon 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 doon. Barbie. Dream House. Do 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 do. What's the lady look like? Oh God, Barbie Life in the Dream House. Wiki fandom. I'm trying to find a list of characters. I'm sorry, so I can find this character's name. Because I think it's the web show is like a spin-off of the Barbie Adventures in the Dream House show. I don't know her name. But either way, like, it's not... Dude, it's not Black Barbie. It's a different character on the show who happens to be black. Calling her Black Barbie is kind of fucked up.
Against...
It's Nikki. Oh, it's in the title of the video! Barbie and Nikki! Dude, just call her Nikki, it's right here! Cascadia 93, the VAs of the dolls are actually pretty great, though. They're all very talented women, and they say that they enjoy doing Barbie because of how much they wish to make it a really good show for fans of the dolls in the future. Sure. I just think the animation's letting it down a little bit. I don't know. It just looks weird.
Animation. I believe they make videos like this on their channel a lot. It's just a little promotion kind of thing, and this is them trying to be woke, trying to fight so-called racism.
Racism. Not so-called. Racism.
Not saying racism never existed or doesn't exist anymore at all, but I don't know why I just like that. I'm gonna dislike it. Okay, dislike. I don't...
bad. I'm an adult man, and I definitely want Barbie's channel to know that I disagree with this Barbie short.
I don't know why I hit like. I just tend to hit like on videos that I usually like, but this one's getting a dislike because already racism. Come on, is there really a need to address this, especially to kids?
Yes! Yes. 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 Yeah.
These toys aimed at 5 and 10-year-olds, like little kids, little girls. They're trying to infect them with this social justice ideology.
They're infecting the children with checks notes that racism's bad. Now, why would no BS not like children to be taught racism's bad? Is it because he thinks actually racism's good? And I'm not trying to be like hyperbolic here. I genuinely, and I mean this seriously, what reason could he have to disagree with this unless he thinks, no, actually, I want kids to learn that racism's good? Like, what could you possibly have against this unless that is your thought and you just don't want to say it out loud? There's no reasonable explanation outside of this.
And from what I've heard and from what I've seen of this video so far, it's not going to go well. It is not what you should be taught.
Antipodian Squid, Nikki has been around since me and my older sisters were kids, so like 30, 40 years we had Nikki dolls. Okay, I didn't know about that. I don't know anything about Barbie. I didn't have Barbies as a kid, unfortunately. I wanted them, but no, I did not have them.
Talking to kids about. It is not addressing real issues. We don't have a giant big racism problem in America. People aren't
Yes, we do.
killing each other because of the color of their skin.
They literally are.
Is some certain issues. I would say mostly on the left. The left has issues with hating white people and also
Actually, the real racism was hating white people all along. Is that a bingo spot? Do we have some sort of bingo spot in relation to that? Oh, he did say SJWs in 2020. Okay.
also kind of prioritizing certain minority races, certain identities, and I think that's wrong. But the stuff they're going to talk about here is more about white guilt and white supremacy and crap like that. But before we go any further, let's just watch out white guilt identities, and I think that's wrong. But the stuff they're going to talk about here is more about white guilt and white supremacy and crap like that. But before we go any
What's wrong with disavowing white supremacy, no BS? Because we know for a fact white supremacists exist. Do you not remember Charlottesville? This isn't old news. There are white supremacists in this country. Why do you think saying that ethno-nationalism is bad? What's wrong with that?
further, let's just watch the video and let them.
Tucker White 94, how much do you want to bet that if I looked up newspaper op-eds from the 60s and 70s, I'd find pieces bitching about how children's shows doing stuff like the video we're watching now? Probably. I don't think this is an old, like... I'm pretty sure racists and crypto-racists for a long time, anytime, like, racism comes up in kid shows, it's like, why are we teaching this to kids? Because really, they want kids to be racist.
Them speak for themselves, and then we'll respond.
Hey, everybody.
Hey, everyone.
So there is a huge movement going on. People, millions of people across the world are standing up to fight against racism. And they're doing this because too often and for such a long time, people have been treated unfairly. And in some cases, even hurt by others because of the color of their skin.
You mean like how these BLM protesters go and attack white people and just ruin their dinners, yell at their face?
Oh no! My dinner's been ruined! These darn Black Lives Matter protesters are at it again! They've ruined our dinner! Muffy, These darn protesters. I'm trying to do a monocle. I wish I had a monocle. Muffy, these protesters have ruined our dinner once again. They've foiled our cocoa bouche.
Nothing funny about the tools of capitalism.
Oh no, he's killing the straw man.
Hit them with stuff, grab weapons, and attack them. Is that what Barbie's talking about? Because I think she's not. I think she's probably implying there's some kind of crazy anti-black racism out there, some kind of
Yes, because there is.
phantom boogeyman kind of person who's attacked.
It frustrates me too, because I know No BS must spend at least a certain amount of time on 4chan, right? Like, no chance he doesn't, or some sort of chan. 4chan, 8chan, I think it's 8kun now. But, like, if you spend any amount of time on an anonymous web forum, wouldn't you know it, all the white supremacists and racists come out of the woodwork, and you literally have, like, Nazi appreciation posts and stuff. Like, these guys, they're not non-existent, No BS. You know this. You know this. And this isn't even talking about, like, the real-world things we see with, like, policing and the murder of, like, unarmed black people, or unarmed anyone, for that matter, when we're talking about policing in this country. Like, No BS. Come on. Come on. You can't play stupid on this. Maybe there's a time in the past where you could try and play stupid on this. Maybe sometime in the early 2000s, I don't know. But these days, with everything we know, with everything we've seen, you cannot be like, I don't know what racism you're talking about, wink. Ridiculous. Wind Chanter with 10 bits. The man who pretends to be a bull is mad at Barbie for doing something she has done since it was popular to do so. Yep.
Attacking minorities that just simply doesn't actually exist. And the other thing I'm looking at here is like these overexpressive cartoon characters. The voiceover.
Overexpressive. See, I was gonna say the opposite. I mean, it makes sense for they're Barbie doll people, so they're a little plastic, but I thought the facial movements were... unless by expressive you just mean they have big anime eyes. I guess that could count.
Seems a little low quality for this production. Like, it doesn't exactly match.
No BS. You can't really criticize the low production values when your production values are literally a bull PNG taped onto a guy in a flannel shirt. Like, what?
Match up with the animation. To me, it seems like they recorded on a low quality microphone. I don't know if I should be one to be nitpicking here.
No, you shouldn't.
But my channel is recorded in my...
And again, like, out of all the... Like, if you're gonna criticize the content, criticize the content.
Racism.
This is a popular show. This has over 500,000 views. This channel has 10 million subscribers almost. Their videos get a decent bit of views. You know, this one's 500,000. This one's 172,000. This one's 788,000. You get it. There are tons of videos. It's a popular channel for little girls. Mostly, I would assume. There are little boys, I'm sure, who play with Barbie, and that's fine. I don't care. But, like, out of all the... You're not talking about whether or not you enjoy the production value of the Barbie YouTube show. You're talking about the fact that you don't like the fact that they are talking about real-world issues that are going on in the world right now. So talk about that. Stop deflecting and trying to focus on other things. Cascadia93, anyone who has visited or extremely seen or externally seen poll on 4chan will basically see a tanky versus Nazi forum with open Nazi recruitment techniques and use of the most disgusting slurs in the human language, all with no consequences. Yeah, basically. Lots of hat towers in the chat.
Office on my own computer by myself. I'm not trying to flaunt some high production quality, but these guys...
Tucker White 94, this same guy took part in a video listing things, aka straw manning, that stereotypical liberals do, i.e. being overly dramatic reactionaries. Yet here he is doing exactly that. Yeah. Yep.
They're Barbie. They have millions of subscribers. They have millions of dollars to produce this, and it just looks like crap, and it's just pushing this woke bullcrap.
This stuff isn't easy.
I don't think it took millions. I mean, they already have the models. For those who don't know, I only know this because I listen to a lot of YouTube channels and other stuff that's about, like, animation. Saber Spark is a good example. But there's a show, an animated show, I think it's called, like, Barbie Adventures in the Dream House, something Dream House. I'm not sure. But it's a show that exists. They already have the 3D models. They're already rigged for animation. They already have, like, the locations, the digital sets. So all they do is they just do a little animation on these vlogs, and they do this, and they make money on them. Like, they already had them lying around. They didn't literally throw this all together just for this video on racism. It's an ongoing show. Tucker White 94, does this video count for the get woke, go broke space on the card? Not unless he says that or something to the tune of... excuse me. If he says something to the tune of, like, if you keep doing this, you're gonna go broke, or if he says, like, get woke, go broke, then it counts. Like, he can't just be criticizing woke media. He has to say, this woke media is going to lead to them being bankrupt, or it's going to lead to them losing money, something along those lines.
Easy to talk about, which is exactly why we have to talk about it.
It's a tough conversation, but I'm glad we're having it. People might think that my life looks fine, but the truth is I and so many other Black people have to deal with racism all the time. It's really hurtful, and it can be scary and sad, and I wanted to share some stories about that.
Got to deal with racism all the time. Give me a break. I really
Give me a break. Me, no BS. As a white man, I never experience racism, so you don't either, lady.
That's right, capitalistic
Jesus
propaganda.
Christ. Thank you, Fallen Sphinx, for following. No BS. I understand that you personally, as a white person, have not experienced racism. And that's fine. I'm happy for you. I really am. I don't experience racism either because I'm white. However, if you actually listen to African Americans and their stories about how this is a common experience for them, both in extreme scenarios where someone is actively openly calling them names or saying very, very racist things to them, or at the micro level where we're talking about people being a little more crypto about it, a little more disrespectful in general towards them, people following them around stores because they think they're shoplifting. These are things that exist. You don't get to just say you don't believe they exist because they don't happen to you. Because as it turns out, the end-all be-all of human experience is not what you, an individual, experiences. You need to listen to larger groups of people and their experiences to paint a picture of what's going on within society, which is what we're doing when we're talking about, like, Black Lives Matter and current, like, civil rights movements that seek to expand the understanding in society of the difficulties that exist in the 21st century for someone who's Black in America. Like, you don't just get to say no. You don't just get to say all these people are saying that these things are problems for them. Well, I as a white person say no, they're not. It's not up to you. It's not up to you. When there's a group of people who are like, excuse me, we're having issues where people aren't treating us equally, you don't get to be like, nah, I'm good.
There's nothing funny about
It's not how it
the tools
works.
of capitalism.
Fu Manchu with 20 bits. Let me, a white dude who doesn't believe racism exists except towards white people when it paints people of color, civil rights movements in a negative light, explain to you how you don't actually experience racism. No BS, probably. It's not probably, it's what he's saying.
really highly doubt what they call race.
Antipodian Squid with 10 bits. Also, more simplistic animation and CG like this, and not super hyper-realistic CG and animation like, I don't know, Avatar is lost on really little kids. It doesn't hold their attention. Big blocks of color and simpler designs hold their attention. Okay.
Racism is really something significant. I mean, believe me, I'm one to say, if they have some real racist complaints, if these stories are factual, if something really bad
They are, and you're denying they exist.
happened, by all means, I'm not for that. But essentially, when
I like that he doesn't say, I'm against that. He's just like, I'm not for that.
you talk to leftists like this, everything's racist. Anything that bad that happens to them, they'll blame on racism. So it's
Someone gets shot while they're unarmed by the police or murdered by them, and all of a sudden it's a racism issue. Yeah, it is. Funny how that works. Ask Compu with a cleanse. Thank you. We'll keep that for later.
It's kind of hard to take them seriously at this point. I mean, this chick could get cut off while...
I, an adult man, find this Barbie YouTube series a little hard to take seriously. Why isn't Barbie talking about white genocide? Now I'm just imagining that couple in Florida who had like the guns outside of their house, like the idiots they were, and I'm imagining it as Barbie and Ken. Racist Barbie. Trump supporter Barbie.
Driving home from work and say that was because of racism. She could be, say, get the wrong order at a restaurant and say that was a racist move. I mean, anything.
Reductio ad absurdum isn't as good as an argument as you think it is. Fun stuff.
That happens to a minority is called racism. So it's kind of hard to take them seriously, especially with these over-the-top voiceovers, these over-the-top emotional looks on these Barbie characters. And the other thing is,
it's almost like it's a serious topic and they want to get that across to children. Weird.
I don't know what's up with the jump cut. I know jump cuts are used on YouTube a lot. I do it myself, but
it's to give like a level of verisimilitude to the format that it's like a vlog. They don't have to do that, obviously. It's an intentional choice by the makers of the show to make it look more like what kids would recognize as a vlog format.
But it looks really weird with this computer animation. I don't get why they had to animate it with a bunch of jump cuts. It's kind of...
Like, you really don't get it? It's not complicated. They're doing it to make a facsimile of a vlog, and vlogs have jump cuts. That's it.
Weird to me.
Antipodian Squid with 10 bits. I, a white man that pretends to be a cutout of a bull on the internet for my hot takes because I'm too scared to show my face, think that Barbie is too much. I can't take it seriously. And then Cascadia93 with 10 bits. Over the top. The voice acting is very muted and serious for a children's program.
Barbie and I had a sticker selling contest on the beach last month. We split up and went different directions to see who could sell the most. Well.
Nlid with 20 bits. It's amazing how blind these people are to how blatant racism still is today. I had a guy come into our office and tell me we're giving Native Americans too much coverage in the paper, even though we are next to 3 reservations. He then made a bunch of awful remarks about Native Americans before I told him to leave. Yeah, gross. People are gross. I don't know if this is an experience, like, I don't know if this is, like, I don't know if non-white people, and I don't know if this is especially, like, a white guy thing, but, like, in my family, I'll have you know, there are some people who, like, how do I put this? Obviously, before I came out as trans, right? So, people see me as a dude, and we're hanging out, and it seems like because we're all white in this group, it seems like some of the people in the group assume everyone in the group shares the same racist viewpoints. So literally, like, if you're a white person, you've probably been in this situation where you're in a group of white people, and one of them casually will just start spouting some really, really racist BS, like, including, like, using the N-word and stuff. And you're like, what? This is not a secret, guys. White people know about this. At least in the Midwest, this is like a relatively common thing. You get into groups of certain people, and they're gonna start talking about how they really don't like, and then they'll use some racial slurs. Tumek Von Raven, thank you for gifting 5 Tier 1 subs. I appreciate that. Toeen24 also has a cleansed. Is that the one I already clicked on?
Nothing funny about the tools of capitalism.
Thank you for that. And I have some other stuff. Yeah. Thank you, Tumek Von Raven for the 5 gifted subs. Much appreciated.
While I was on the boardwalk, beach security stopped me 3 times. What? They asked me all these questions over and over, and they even called my mom. I never told you, but that's why I sold a few stickers.
So they're talking about police profiling, basically. Police profiling exists in the Barbie universe. Which is sad, but yeah, it exists in the real world, so there you go. Tucker White 94, gather round, children. It's time for the insert white name family Thanksgiving tradition, discussing the good things Hitler did. I didn't get that far in my family, but yeah. There were some particular family members who thought because we were all white that it was okay for them to start unloading how much they don't like non-white people. It's pretty gross. I was young enough at the time, too, that I didn't say anything, which I'm sad about today, but, you know. Whatevs.
That day. The security officers thought I was doing something bad, even though I was doing exactly what you were doing. And remember...
Okay, this is just bogus. It's just some made-up thing. Oh,
no, it's not. No, it's not. Black people get profiled for, like, thinking that they're shoplifting or all sorts of other things all the time. I'm pretty sure there are even YouTube videos out there if you want to just see it for yourself, where people will wear hidden cameras, black people will wear hidden cameras, and then they'll show you, like, look at the security guard who's following around the entire store. Like, this is a thing. It sucks, no BS. I know it sucks. But it exists. It's a thing that happens regularly.
The police security, the beach security people stopped her more. Okay, and that's because of racism. Come on. First of all,
I don't know if you know this, no BS, but saying come on is not the best rebuttal. It's not as intellectually sound as you seem to think it is.
if this story was true, not that much really happened to her. The beach security asked a few questions and she went about her day. It might not even taken that long. And
give me a break. Your civil rights against unlawful search and seizure were just a little bit trampled upon, and you were treated like a criminal. But hey, what does it really matter? Says a man who's probably never been stopped by the police. Wind chanter with 10 bits. But Hannah, I mean, come on. Oh, well, since you put it that way, I guess racism doesn't exist. Brilliant argument, everyone.
And as long as she wasn't doing anything wrong, you don't have to worry about the security. You don't have to worry about them asking.
Don't worry. Cops and security guards have never, in the history of the world, much less the United States, hurt anyone who wasn't doing anything wrong. And their use of force is never disproportionate to the situation. This isn't tea, but I feel like it's close enough.
Asking you a few questions. Sure, if this is true, that would be offensive. That would be
Baja Blast. I don't even believe that he believes the words coming out of his mouth. I don't either. I don't. I think he's a. It wouldn't surprise me, and again, this is just speculation. It wouldn't surprise me if No BS is like a crypto. How do I put this? He's like a crypto white nationalist who believes he can use his platform to push the Overton window further to the right and act like racism doesn't exist, while perpetuating ideas and ideology that hurt people of color in this country. I think a lot of people on YouTube are like this. In terms of the chuds we watch, at least. I think Sargon's the same. Sargon knows a lot of the stuff he's saying is bullshit, but he doesn't care. He wants, though he says what he says not because he thinks it's true, but because he thinks it will further his cause. His cause being basically white supremacism in the Western world. Antipodian Squid, it's all for the grift. Yeah.
Filing or something like that, but it's just a made-up example for this YouTube channel. This isn't an actual story.
It's based on real-world stories. This has literally happened. Have you not heard an African-American individual ever, like, talk about being profiled by the police? We can go try and find it if you want. YouTube. Being profiled by security. I don't know if I'll be able to find it. African-American security guard says he was racially profiled by mall security. San Francisco grocery outlet security guard fired over racial profiling. Woman says she was racially profiled, attacked by Safeway security guard. Lawsuit accuses security guards of racial profiling. Like, you can get this endlessly. There's this dude who might be Hispanic, I'm not sure, racial profiling in store. We have,
There's nothing funny about
look it, guys, this is not an uncommon occurrence, okay? Stop acting like it is, No BS. Tucker White 94 with 10 bits. There's nothing to worry about if you're innocent. We live in a country in which over 150 people were sent to death row for something they didn't commit, and that's the people who were exonerated in time.
Nothing funny about the tools of capitalism.
Thank you. Jouster Zen with 100 bits. Hello, beautiful Hannah in chat. Thank you. It's, you guys remember that Simpsons bit where it's, no, money down. I'm not going to play the clip, but you know the Simpsons bit where it's Lionel Hutz works on contingency, no money down, and then when they get the ad and they take it to him, he's like, works on contingency, no money down. I feel like that's No BS's YouTube channel. It's no, comma, BS, exclamation point.
This isn't a thing that actually happened. This is...
Oh, does the Chud bingo work now? That's good. I'm glad. Din Kinney, thank you for following. Welcome to the stream. And, Owen B80, thank you for following. Sorry if I mispronounced.
just them pretending, oh, cops pull over black people more.
They do.
Ask them more questions. They get followed more by security in stores. And if we really want to go down that road, I mean, I don't want to be too offensive. I know this is hard for people to take. It's a hard fact that we haven't had to share.
Oh, is he going to do it? Is he going to do the 1580 or whatever it is? I forget the number. I always forget the number. Is it 1580?
Here, I think most people recognize this right now, especially the one.
I'm the first American streamer to say your name correctly the first time. Wow. That's actually impressive. I get everyone's name wrong. Nice. 1350. That's what it is. 1350. Is he going to unironically 1350 here?
That watch this channel, but there is a reason why this happens. I mean, this certain group commits way more crime.
He said it! He did them! He's doing it! Okay, so you've shifted the goalposts, and this is going to count as goalpost shifting. Where do I have that? Moving goalposts on Chud Bingo. So the goalposts were at, this doesn't happen, to, but if it does, it's black people's fault for committing so much crime. Goalpost soars 1,000 feet that way. Ridiculous.
Crime than the other.
I don't want to be offensive, but here's a bunch of racist bullshit.
Other groups, and they're way more likely to be committing a crime.
Endlid with 10 bits. Just comply with the police and authority. That's all you have to do. Wait, what's that? You want me to wear a mask? How dare you? I think the command is just Chud, not Chud Bingo. So just try exclamation point Chud if you want the bingo card.
Crime, because they're just, that's the...
So, by the way, like I said, if you're just coming in for Chud Bingo, someone else made this bingo card and they said they would pay for the winner's bingo. Not me. I didn't make this. So if that person doesn't pay out, that's not on me.
Crime stats in America. That's the way there are in jails too. There's just more crimes committed in this group. I don't want it to be true. I wish it wasn't the case, but that's what's happening now. Profile.
The Ender 92, hasn't the phrase "not to be racist" ever been followed by something that's not racist? We should start using that in like, I don't mean to be racist, but bananas are delicious. And then someone's like, but that has nothing to do with race. And you're like, yeah, I said not to be racist.
Filing is still wrong, assuming someone did.
That's true. I also didn't make the other bingo, but I did back it with my own money. This one I'm not, because I can only afford to do the one bingo of the week, and I do it on Tinfoil Tuesday.
Did something based on that is still wrong, but you got to look at your group and say, hey, maybe if we weren't doing these crimes so much, people wouldn't think we're committing crimes. It's the same thing with other kinds of traits with groups. If other groups have done things in the past.
He's unironically just advocating for racial profiling.
Like if there's a certain group that say is prone to anti-religious violence and they do that a lot, and you know groups, if other groups, something based on, there are in jails too that happens. I mean, this certain group commits way much this channel, but there is a reason.
I'm gonna report this video for
There's nothing funny about the tools
Hateful,
of
abusive
capitalism.
content. Promotes hatred or violence. Claiming racial profiling is okay because black people commit more crime and therefore deserve it.
There's nothing funny about the tools of capitalism.
Hey, random weird thing. Nothing to do with anything at all, but here's a link to that video at the exact timestamp. He's about to say some racist stuff if you need it for some reason. Not to be racist, but you think Pathfinder is the better TTRPG system. Tucker White 94. I'm not racist, but I'm drinking water. We're over here.
Usually, when I talk about these things, people only did well because
But that's the truth and the real backstory to that they're ignoring and not mentioning because they just want to act like everyone's racist.
You're literally doing the racism. No BS. You're literally doing the racism right now!
made a perfect score on the entrance test. But when the teacher, who didn't know me at all, gave me my results, he told me I only did well because I got lucky. He said he knew I couldn't speak French that well. I don't want to have to constantly prove and reprove myself. Usually, when I talk about these things, people make excuses. They say things like, oh, well, maybe you should have had a permit for selling on the beach. But
No BS, they're talking about you. The cartoon doll is literally steps ahead of you, okay?
There's nothing
You
funny
got.
about the tools of capitalism.
Endlid with 20 bits. So bringing up the fact, I'm sure he's going to talk about the mass incarceration caused by the drug war, the generational poverty that was forced onto African Americans, or white flight, which caused more African Americans to be in older housing facilities, or even the growing wage gap because of trickle-down economics. Nope, of course not, because that would be reasonable.
those are just excuses. People
Okay, I didn't even think about that, but yeah, you should have a permit. If you're selling something on the beach, you should have a permit. I don't know.
He's literally doing the thing that they are not making fun of. He's literally doing the racism. He's doing the racism!
That's not really an excuse. That's just a fact. If they have a rule there that you can't sell stuff without a permit, then when you get pulled over, it's not because of your race. It's because you're not following the rules. And then
No BS. The entire point was that Barbie didn't get stopped where she did. Did you miss that? You're literally doing the thing.
really you're blaming things that happened to you based on race. Like this other story that they're making up about some French teacher assuming that she wasn't that good at French. I mean, absolutely absurd. This is not real news. This is not.
Do you think there are no racist teachers, no BS? Really? Come on.
Not anything that actually happened. They're just making crap up and they're pushing it to little kids.
Let's see. Racist teacher. Here's just a couple. Another Osceola County teacher under investigation for alleged remarks. Osceola County, Florida. Osceola County leaders are looking into another incident where a teacher has made alleged discriminatory remarks during class. In a video shared on Facebook by an Osceola, or Osceola, I don't know how to pronounce that, sorry. You can hear the teacher talk to students about their political views and their thoughts on the LGBT community. Oh, this teacher's a homophobe. This person says, honestly, your president is just racist. He's racist, a student said. She says, here's my point. You're able to believe whatever you want to believe. All I said is make sure you do your research, the teacher said. He went on to discuss how being gay was wrong and how trans people shouldn't have any rights and how he doesn't agree with Black Lives Matter movement. And there's just a lot of things that should not be discussed to preteens, blah, 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 blah. So that person got in trouble. Then we also have a Woodland High School teacher placed on leave after sharing a racist post. So they have a bunch of racist posts. Doon, 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 doon. Yeah. No BS. Racist teachers exist because racists exist in the world. Like yourself. So you should know. Antipodian's good with 10 bits. Our math teacher was always harder on my husband in high school, thinking he would inherently be better at it because he's Asian, and he isn't great at math and he hates it. She would get really frustrated because Asians are good at math. That's really gross. That's so gross.
Kids, that's the worst part. This is a show and a toy that's for little kids, and Barbie's getting woke? Are you kidding me? This is insane.
People did these things to me because I was black, and they made the wrong assumptions about me.
And they don't make those assumptions about white people like me. That's not fair.
Oh my God, life is not fair. Oh, it's not fair. They don't.
Yeah, no BS. There are certain things you can't control in life in regard to fairness. You can try and punish people who are discriminatory, though, which is what we should do as a society, because it's detrimental to people within society, and it does nothing but hurt people. It's not like it benefits anyone. It literally just hurts people.
Don't make those assumptions about me. Please. They act like white people don't have assumptions made against them.
The assumptions that get made against white people are not negative ones. Unless we're talking about jokingly. Like, oh, you know white people, they don't like seasoning. Like, that's about the depth of derogatory we're talking about when we're talking about people making comments about white people.
There's no negative stereotypes about white people? Like, are you kidding me? You never heard of Southern redneck stereotypes?
Again, those aren't really white people stereotypes, though, about white people as a whole. That's a stereotype that was perpetuated by white people about a subset of white people. Black people didn't invent the, like, redneck country bumpkin stereotype.
Sir, white inbred hillbilly stereotypes, people assume.
Funny about the tools.
Tatsuyo Dragneil with 10 bits. This is related. My friend who goes to a university in Canada has a teacher who thinks there's nothing wrong with saying the N-word in class. Oh my god. Have they reported the teacher? Also on top of what's being said, people don't look at, like, generic white person and somehow associate them with rednecks for no reason, right? That does happen to black people, though, with black stereotypes in the United States.
Assuming white people are rich and pampered and have the easy, white privilege is cast upon us. This.
Right, because that's a reality. That's not a stereotype, it's true. Again, the people who say, like, I don't have white privilege don't really know what it even means. Like, when we're talking about white privilege, it's not the idea that, like, oh, you're white, so everything in your life is going to be easy. That's not what's being said. Like, people have problems regardless of their race. What we're talking about in regard to white privilege is that you are exempt from a certain subset of problems that people who are not white in this country do have to deal with on top of whatever other issues they're dealing with. So you can be poor and still have white privilege, right? If you're a poor white person, chances are you're not going to get pulled over by the cops or targeted for security people to follow you around in a store as much as if you were a black person, regardless of your wealth level as a black person. So we're talking about exemption from a certain subset of negative consequences of the color of your skin when we're talking about white privilege. We're not saying your life is perfect because you're white. Tucker White 94. At this point, I'm more invested in the GTA gameplay than whatever bullshit No BS is spouting.
This happens to everyone. It's not just happening to you. You just think you're special because you've been told that by the liberals and the woke crowds, and they're giving you this kind of free pass and victim points. And the truth is, it's just, this happens to everyone. People have.
No, it doesn't. I have literally never been targeted in a store in terms of, like, someone thinking I'm gonna steal something. It's just never happened. I'm a white person. That doesn't happen to me.
Stereotypes and things assumed about them. Bad things.
If I'm on the internet doing something, and this is like, yes, it's the internet, but it's indicative of attitudes in the world as a whole. Like, if I were a black person doing this same stream, do you know how many, like, racial slurs I would probably get regularly? I already get some shit for being trans, but can you imagine if I was, like, a different race? Like, racists exist, and their feelings on other people in society who are of a different race than them affect people. It's just the truth. It's a sad truth, but it is the truth. And no BS. Facts don't care about your feelings, as Ben Shapiro once said.
Things happen to everyone. This chick in the first bit of this quote, she says everything happens to her because she's black, and that's just the way they're brought.
She didn't say everything happens to her because she's black. You're literally straw-manning a Barbie doll. No, she didn't say everything that happens to her is because she's black. She says there are regular situations like this which are informed by the color of her skin, and that's the truth. Tucker White 94 with 10 bits as a bisexual atheist male. I'm still wondering where I can redeem my victim points for prizes. Ooh, I hope I have enough points for the PlayStation 5.
Brought up. This is a bad parenting. This is someone that was told when they're a kid, they're a victim. Everything that happens to them is because of the color of their skin. It's not true. You're wrong. You were told wrong things. Don't blame me because you can't figure it out and get red pilled. And don't act like you're the only race that's ever.
Do we have red pill on this bingo card? I want to get straw man. He definitely said virtue signaling or something along the lines of that. Okay.
Ever suffered from a stereotype or something. I mean, white people have, brown people have stereotypes, other races and religions, and Jewish people and people from this country, Greece. It happens to everyone. Why do you want to be the victim so bad?
It's not about wanting to be a victim. It's about being an actual victim and trying to change the circumstances so you are no longer a victim. Antipodian Squid with 10 bits today in sentences I never thought I'd hear, but I'm glad I did. You're literally straw-manning a Barbie doll. And then Andrew Dickerson with some bits. I was pulled over by a white cop for going 69, nice, in a 60 zone, and he was suspicious about why a younger man like me, without kids, was driving a minivan. I explained that it was my alternative to a pickup truck with more space and better gas mileage, and it gave me a warning. Lord knows what would have happened if I didn't look and sound white. Little did that gringo know I'm actually Mexican. Yeah, cops are not great. They make really dumb assumptions and profile people. Cascadian 93 with 10 bits. I visited China with my Chinese language class in high school. The one stereotype I came across was that was negative about white people was there. The assumption of us being greedy and loud, and finally that I would speak no Chinese because it was communist. It was odd. Also, nothing close to what Chinese people deal with in America. Sure. And if we're talking especially about, like, other countries, you can talk, I'm sure, like, if you're white and you live in Japan, you probably deal with issues being a racial minority in Japan. Like, any country where there is a racial minority, there's probably going to be issues regarding being a minority. That's something that happens all the time in humanity, unfortunately. But when we're talking about, like, Black Lives Matter, we're talking about it about, like, African Americans, because this is the country we live in, right? Like, if another country has issues in the way that their racial minorities are treated, I hope that gets dealt with, but it's not at the forefront of my list because I don't live in those countries, right? I feel like I can affect the most change, or at least bring attention to certain issues in the place that I am from because I understand those issues more than other ones, right? So, like, if we're talking about, I don't know, being a white person in some country or being white is a minority, you might face different issues, but that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about white people in America where white people are the majority, and white people just don't face that kind of discrimination in this country because it's mostly white.
Because that means that white people get an advantage that they didn't earn, and black people get a disadvantage that they don't deserve.
Exactly. It's really serious. Some people even get hurt when others think the wrong things about them.
If you say so, lady. I don't think black people get a disadvantage, white people get an advantage.
And you're wrong. That sucks. I know it sucks, but you're wrong.
I think we live in the real world. Things are black, white, and gray, and there's lots of nuance. There's plenty of successful black people. There's plenty of poor white people. It's not as bad as you are claiming. You're telling lies to children. This channel is despicable.
It's not a lie. It's not a lie. The fact that people are racist and it affects minority communities does not preclude the idea that someone could be a successful minority. It's about statistically disadvantaging enough people that it's a problem. Wait, I have bingo? Or someone else has bingo? Where? Red pill. Did we have word salad? Tucker White 94. It's not just limited to racial stereotypes, Hannah. You've probably had to make assumptions about you for being a heathenistic, non-gourd believer. Maybe. Did we have did we have word salad? Is that what you guys are talking about? I don't think we did. Did we? I don't remember having word salad. So I don't think we do.
This is insane. I can't believe a children's channel would post this and just push this kind of racism onto people. This is teaching kids to be racist, acting like black.
Teaching kids that racism is wrong is teaching kids racism. He's literally parroting, like, I don't know if you guys saw The Boys Season 2, but he's parroting the talking points of one of the villains, let's say.
Black people never did anything wrong, acting like white people are evil oppressors, and it's just not true. And I think you guys get that, and we all understand that Barbie has gotten woke, and this stuff needs to stop. That about wraps things up. Hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Comment your thoughts on everything below. Also hit the like button, subscribe if you're new, and ding, 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 hit the bell for notifications too. See you on the next video. Thanks again for watching.
He's so gross. He's so gross. Again, here's a link to the video at a specific timestamp before he talks about black people deserving racial profiling. If you want to do anything with that information, like if you think it violates a YouTube policy, do what you will with that link. Or not. None of my business. Anyway, moving on from no BS. By the way, if you haven't already, give a subscribe to my YouTube channel, youtube.com/Hannah Reloaded. Finally got my custom URL, which is nice. It's a lot shorter than the previous one. I'm trying to get to more subscribers than Hans Wormhat, the conspiracy theorist that we cover a lot on Tinfoil Tuesday. Is The Boys good? Should you watch it? It's fantastic. Definitely check it out. It's a really good satire of superheroes and what superheroes would be like if they existed in the real world. And as it turns out, they'd be dicks who work for a giant mega corporation. So yeah, check out my YouTube channel. It's got not only all my videos, but they're all in nice little playlists. Look at all the playlists I got. We have we have liked videos, which is private, but you guys can't normally see that one. That's mine. We have a Red Pill playlist that I just started up. We have a politics playlist, stream highlights, which is every stream highlight I've done. Conspiracy theory debunks, Chud watch, Tanky watch. We only have one video because that's new, but we're going to start doing more Tankies. Just have a random stuff. Full streams, Public Domania, where we watch educational films and other public domain stuff. Captain Cringe, where we watch cringe stuff. Wheel streams, where we watch all of the above. Flat Earth, Ghost Stuff, Sovereign Citizens, Chud Watch Media Edition, which is like stuff like this, where we were talking about no BS and the Barbie thing. Chud Watch Hall of Shame, Creationism Debunks, Weird YouTube Life Hacks, Karen Freakouts, Cryptids, Chud Watch Hall of Fame, and debates, of which there's only one. But it's all very organized, so go and check it out. I put a decent amount of time into it, so I hope you guys enjoy the fact that everything's on there and organized to make it easy to look by topic. Okay, so what's next? Here's a cleanse of some sort. Empty box. You updated the YouTube command? Thank you. I'm an organization machine. You haven't seen my house, apparently. It's not the most organized. Oh, God!
There's nothing funny about the tools of capitalism.
Archangel 1357.9. Look at me. I am the stream boss now. I don't know. What's this one?
Boat parade, looking for directions to the boat parade. Gonna get a sunburn standing out here all day, trying to get a ticket to the boat parade.
I appreciate the voters for drumming.
Boat parade, gonna meet a lady at the boat parade. Forgot my shoes at home and now my feet are turning gray. Missing grandma's birthday for the boat parade. Boat parade, boat parade, boat parade, boat parade.
Archangel 1357.9. Boat parade. Yeah.
And I just wish I had time. I'd get on one of those boats and I'd be carrying a flag also. It looks like you're having a good time and the whole world is watching.
Boat parade, 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 boat parade.
Funny. Oh boy. Okay. Okay. So Doomcock. Doomcock is an embarrassing individual who focuses his entire channel on being way too into his character, which is basically a ripoff of Doctor Doom, but if Doctor Doom was an anti-SJW weirdo. And he spends all his time talking about how much he hates modern Star Trek, how much he hates modern Star Wars, except for maybe The Mandalorian, although I'm not super clear on that, and how he wishes George Lucas would come back to direct a Star Wars movie, which is hilarious considering George Lucas is a bad director. He is consistently lying and taking lies from 4chan and peddling them as if they are real. People have tricked him before. I forget the guy's name. I'm sorry. But he has a really good Star Trek YouTube channel. A different guy. Let me find him real quick just so I know. Star Trek. I know it starts with a K. What's his channel name? Ketwalski. Yeah. So Ketwalski, who's a Star Trek YouTuber. Check out Ketwalski. Has 20,000 subscribers. Definitely worth checking out. Here's a link to one of his videos. Him and a group of other people decided to troll Cast Iron Pan with 100 bits. Have a cleanse. Oh god, we can watch Potion Seller later. I've seen it. So Ketwalski trolled Doomcock by putting a bunch of fake rumors that they manufactured for this onto 4chan to see if they could bait Doomcock into reporting on this made-up information. And what do you know? Not only did Doomcock report on this made-up information, but then, as Doomcock always does, he says something along the lines of, "My sources inside of CBS tell me," and then he confirms it. Thus confirming that his sources are bullshit because they confirmed something that was manufactured by Ketwalski. So Doomcock does a lot of stuff where he'll be like, "Oh, Discovery's getting it's getting canceled. Discovery's canceled." Every other week it's some bullshit 4chan post about how Discovery's getting canceled. But what do you know? Once again, it's been renewed for season 4. Actually, I have a comment on this that's doing okay. Anyway, the new episode from Season 3. Season 3 just came out of Star Trek Discovery, and this is Doomcock's review. So let's see what he thought. I enjoyed the first episode. Let's try and see how long we can deal with his profoundly negative, weird bullshit opinion. Toeen24, don't pull that evil on Dr. Doom. For all his evil, at least Doom is anti-fash. Is he? Because in Secret Wars, when Doom got the powers of the Why am I blanking on the name? Oh my god, of the Outsider. When Dr. Doom got the powers of the Outsider, he set up a fascist dictatorship with him as the God King. So I don't know how anti-fascism he is. He's anti-other people's fascism, but he himself is fine as long as he's the fascist on the throne, you know?
Greetings, my friends. Please make certain that you are still subscribed to this channel because every day I'm hearing from other people that they have been unsubscribed without their knowledge by YouTube. And if you are not subscribed, please consider supporting this channel. We need you. Thank you. My friends, 3 years ago, I launched my YouTube channel for one reason: to express my rage and disgust at the atrocity that was Star Trek Discovery.
Imagine calling a TV show you don't like an atrocity. An atrocity, guys! So let me give my opinion on Star Trek Discovery, since we're going to be talking about it. I thought the first I thought the first season was pretty rough. I thought it was a little too grimdark. But otherwise, I thought it was promising, but yeah, it wasn't that great, and I haven't really gone back to watch the first season a ton. I think I've seen it through twice, because I watched it, and then I watched it with Baha to get her caught up, because she's a fan of Star Trek, but she hadn't watched the new series. Season 2, I think, got a lot better. Season 2 is actually quite good, in my opinion. It's not the same as Star Trek TNG. Do not go in expecting Star Trek TNG, because that's not what it is. But as its own thing, I think it's a good show in the Star Trek universe. I think it's fun. And I have gone back and watched some Season 2 episodes. I still enjoy them. So now Season 3 came out. The first episode happened. Spoilers. Spoilers, by the way, for Star Trek Season 2 at the very end, and Star Trek Season 3, Episode 1, Star Trek Discovery specifically. I'm going to be talking about it a little bit. So if you haven't seen it and you care, I guess don't watch this segment, but like it's nothing world changing, I guess, except it literally changes the setting of the show. So at the end of Season 2 of Star Trek Discovery, the crew jumped from the 22nd century, whatever century Kirk is from, where the show has been happening, and they were going to jump to the future. And they have. So now Season 3 onward is going to take place the furthest in the future that we've ever seen in Star Trek. We are now in like the 31st or the 32nd or even the 33rd century. I'm not exactly sure which it is. So this is almost 1,000 years after Kirk and Spock and all that. It's very interesting. The 2200s? Or the 3300s? I don't know. And that's quite interesting. And it turns out, after Commander Burnham lands, she discovers that they did in fact save the future, because their entire thing in Season 2 was there was something happening that was going to destroy the future. They succeeded, but in the interim, while they were gone, something called the burn happened, which caused all the dilithium in the universe to explode all at once. And it took out... it basically wiped out the Federation, because Federation ships use dilithium in their process. It's not actually fuel for the warp engines, to my knowledge. It's something else that happens in the process of using the warp engines. So the Federation no longer exists. It's quite interesting as a conceit for the series now. It seems like Discovery is going to try and rebuild the Federation in the 31st or 32nd century, or whenever it is. 32nd century? Thank you. And they ran into a character who's been sort of holding an office for the Federation. We saw some cool technology from the future. It looks like nanotechnology is a big thing, so that we have like beds and desks and stuff appearing from nowhere when they're not in use. We have personal transporters, which I thought was pretty cool. Instead of needing, you know, a ship to transport you or whatever, you just have a little device that you can wear and you can transport yourself from place to place. I don't know the range, they haven't said, but that's pretty cool and a good advancement of the Star Trek technology. Yeah, it seems like a fun show. The first episode I thought was good, and I'm excited to see where it goes.
This thing was not only an insult to Gene Roddenberry's vision of a brighter future for humanity, it was an insult to the...
If this is an insult to Gene Roddenberry's vision for a brighter future for humanity, so is Deep Space Nine. And Deep Space Nine is one of the best Star Trek series. Like, I love Gene Roddenberry, and I love that optimistic view of the future that we see in TNG and TOS, but I think part of it can be a little naive, and I think there's certainly a place for that in Star Trek. I still think that should exist. But I also like your Deep Space Nine Discovery versions, where it's like, hey, optimism is great, and that's something to strive for, but things aren't perfect, and human beings aren't these perfect, like, animals that are always going to behave morally, so what do you do in those situations? I think that's fair to explore. Tucker White 94, if I didn't know the basics of Star Trek, I'd think Hannah was talking in Mad Libs explaining the plot of Discovery.
The intelligence of viewers around the world. The ugliness of this cynical universe was completely antithetical to the optimism of Star Trek. The characters were bland when they weren't offensive, and the blatant stupidity of the writing was painful to any sentient being witnessing this thing.
Doomcock's hyperbole annoys me too.
On Earth or off. Star Trek Discovery is the worst television show ever made.
Like, how can you watch this and take this man seriously? The worst television show ever made! I would rather watch the Geico Cavemen series, which you probably forgot existed, over Star Trek. No. The first season's rough, but after that, I think the show gets good. And even in Season 1, there's interesting things going on. When they go to the Mirror Universe in Season 1, I thought that was very interesting.
Which brings us to Season...
Plus, I enjoyed Dwight as, Harry Mudd. I thought that was good casting.
3. Knowing that I had to watch this in order to review it made me sick. But being the future ruler...
I'm sure all the clicks you expected to get on this video made you so ill, Doomcock. More rage posting, please.
Of Earth, I pressed on. And although the only thing that kept my head from blowing up was my helmet, I am pleased to say I survived. And here is my review. I would say that spoilers follow, but you can't spoil garbage covered in seagull poop. And so, I'm just going to dive right in. You have been warned. Right off the bat, we are presented with a scene featuring...
What's wrong with this guy? Oh boy, that would take a long time to explain.
Featuring a really boring guy in a suit, living in some kind of nano-suite on a space station. This station makes beds, desks, and alarm clocks that look like birds out of some kind of nanoparticles.
Which was cool. Like, he's gonna shit talk things that even if you don't like Discovery Season 3, I don't know how you could look at the stuff that was in the first scene. In the first scene, we see the day-to-day life of this guy, who is, like, one of the last people working for the remnants of the Federation. He's just sitting in a chair, basically, every day and holding it in case someone from the Federation shows up, even though he's never met anyone from the Federation. It's kind of sad. But even if you don't like the content of the plot, the fact that we're in, like, the 32nd century in the Star Trek universe, and we see, like, basically things being created from nowhere because nanotechnology is so prevalent that, like, when you need furniture, it just creates itself, almost like you're on a physical holodeck. That's cool. That's a cool idea. Like, even if you don't like the series, why do you hate that as an idea? Weird.
It shows this guy in a montage where every single day is the same. This sad little nothing with a black...
Does this season have nanites instead of replicators, basically? We've only seen one episode, so I wouldn't say they're necessarily, like, not using replicators, but we did see nanotechnology being used in multiple places, so it seems like that's a common thing in the future.
Blank face is so boring. Given this nanotech that seems to form whatever he needs, instead of making cool shit out of the nanotech like a functional model of Barbara Eden in I Dream of Jeannie, complete with harem outfit and pliant attitude, which can come in handy when you're living all alone on a space station, trust me.
Is the only thing Doomcock can think to do with nanotechnology is to fuck it? Is that the depth of his creativity is, can I fuck this? Because that's pretty sad.
No. All he does is sleep, get his teeth cleaned, and lug around a small case with a fractured STD insignia on it. That's it. The insignia, being fractured and of course 25% different, is inadvertently a perfect symbol of...
The 25% different thing is a conspiracy theory. I'm not kidding. There are conspiracy theories within this stupid, like, right-wing Star Trek community where they think that legally, for some reason, Star Trek Discovery needs to be 25... This is an arbitrary number they pulled out of their butts. They think it legally needs to be 25% distinct from classic Star Trek for legal reasons. How do you gauge that 25%? No idea, but it's what they believe for some reason. Is Doomcock's ideal Star Trek series Tenchi Muyo? I don't know what that is. I assume it's an anime or something.
Of what a broken show Star Trek is now, thanks to Kurtzman and his staff of incompetents who either utterly hate Star Trek or are doing a hell of an impression of people who utterly hate Star Trek.
No, they don't. And again, I've talked about this before too. Alex Kurtzman isn't the person I think should necessarily be in charge of Star Trek. He's made a lot of bad Star Trek, and I think he does miss a little bit of the reason certain people like Star Trek. I agree. It's missing a little bit of that competency porn. You know what I'm talking about? Where, like, you have Picard and Data and Geordi standing around a console talking this techno problem out, and they have to, like, solve it. And I feel like modern Star Trek misses a little of that. I'm fine with action in Star Trek. Action's always been in Star Trek. Look at the original series. It wasn't, like, expensive, well-produced action, but almost every episode, you know, you had Kirk punching a guy with his double hammer fist. This is just an extension of that, and that's fine. I'm fine with action, but I do wish there was a little bit more of that techno-babbly stuff. But, like, nonetheless, Kurtzman doesn't hate Star Trek, and to claim so is incredibly stupid. Like, he might have a different vision of what Star Trek is, and we can disagree on that without me thinking he's some evil demon man who secretly hates Star Trek. That's so weird that you believe that.
Classical music plays over this boring scene of a boring man doing boring things, as if classical music playing over a pile of dog poop makes the dog poop.
SC Sig says that's not a bad line of thinking. It's because legally for Paramount to make money off Star Trek stuff they produce, it needs to be some amount different. There was a licensing deal between them and CBS for rights and shit, apparently. What the numbers would be exactly, I don't know, but that's what I've heard. What you've heard is bullshit made up by conspiracy theorists like Doomcock. There is no evidence that that was ever the case. And by the way, CBS and Paramount are now the same company, so it wouldn't even make sense. They merged a year or two ago. So that line of thinking, especially now, makes no sense. But even back when they weren't the same company, there was no evidence that that was the case.
Classy.
Basically, it comes out of there was an artist for
Funny about the tools of capitalism.
there was an artist for Discovery, like a production artist who worked on the ships. And at the end of Star Trek Discovery Season 1, they run into the OG Enterprise, the NC-1701, like Kirk's Enterprise, but before Kirk is on it. And the designer was told, like, make it look like the classic ship, but like 25% different. And so all of a sudden, all the dumb people like Doomcock are like, 25% different? They must legally have to make things 25% different. No. Nope. It was just them basically saying we want it to be the Enterprise, but, you know, make it your own, make it modern, but, you know, make it a recognizable Enterprise. They really latched on to this, though, and that's the entirety of their basis for believing that things in Discovery need to be 25% different. Cascadia 93. What the best bits of TNG were was where Picard and Data and Geordi figuring out how to end really serious stuff with
That's
just
right,
by thinking about it.
propaganda.
Yeah, I get that. Oh boy. Rip Van Sour, thank you for following.
Now we get a hilariously mediocre opening scene where, guess what? A guy in a ship is being chased by another guy in a ship who is complaining, "Return what you stole from me." And it's supposed to be all exciting, see? Even though we don't give a shit about the pilot or about the guy pursuing the pilot, don't know anything about the cargo, and
Do you not know how TV shows work? Sometimes you start in the middle of action, and then you go back and you explain what's going on. That's a normal thing.
don't care. That is STD in a nutshell. A lot of noise and blasters and cursing, and despite all the racket, we don't care in the slightest because newsflash, people only care about real characters and good writing. And there really isn't much in the way of characters on STD and good writing.
What? Yeah, there is? Like, what? Like, you can dislike the characterization of Michael Burnham if you want. Like, talking about how you think maybe she's a little too serious and she could stand to chill out a little bit. But she's like a fleshed out character, especially in season 2 with her relationship with Spock that we saw a lot of. Like, we also have the Kelpian, whose name I'm forgetting, who is interesting in that he was so afraid and had the, like, sense of danger, and then the things fell off, and now he's, like, very confident. Saru's his name. We also have the red-haired woman. Again, I forget their names for a second until I think about them for a sec. Tilly. We have Tilly, who is like a very exuberant young Starfleet lieutenant, but she's like kind of klutzy and a little like scatterbrained, and that's fun. You have Culver and his husband, and that story is really cute. Like, there's characters on the show, and they're fleshed out. If you don't like them, that's fine. That's your business. But, like, to act like these aren't fleshed out characters at this point is a lie. That's just a lie. That's a lie. Saru gang rise up. I do like Saru.
Well, don't hold your breath. You get cliches, smug lines,
Cliches in Star Trek. Oh no, wouldn't want that.
pieces of wood being the bestest ever, but nothing human or warm whatsoever to give a damn about in this oh-so-blue little turd of a universe, a fart bubble in Roddenberry's franchise, isolated from everything that came
Doomcock. Roddenberry's been dead for 40-something years. He's been dead for so long. I think it was... Let me think for a second. 80s... Roddenberry has probably been dead longer than Star Trek was a thing before he died. There has been more Star Trek material created after his death, but then before it at this point. Star Trek is not defined by what Roddenberry wanted. And I know that's like an auteur thing where you want to be like, oh, Star Trek is the brainchild of Roddenberry. I mean, to an extent, but at the end of the day, most Star Trek material that is in existence was not made with him as a part of it because he was dead. So to say that, like, Star Trek needs to be slave to the opinions and beliefs of a man who's been dead for 40 years is silly and stupid. Tucker White 94, quick aside, what exactly satisfies the Rant Sona space on the card? This is a Rant Sona. He's playing a character, he's got a helmet on, that's a Rant Sona.
came before it, and smelling really bad. And speaking of the bestest ever,
The first season of TNG is the most control Roddenberry had over any season of any Trek, and it was dog shit. Yeah. He's been dead for 29 years exactly. Well, there you go. And by the way, like, it's fine to like Gene Roddenberry for, like, Star Trek and stuff, but also he was kind of a shit person. He, like, cheated on his wife very regularly, and then he took his girlfriend and, like, stuck her into the shows constantly because he kept trying to get her work. Like, the dude had some cool ideas, but he was also a dick, like everyone.
Mikey Spock pops up in her blue angel suit. They called it a red angel suit originally, but like everything else on this ugly little mess, it's blue. And she gets hit by the thief fleeing from the other dude. That's right, she jumps out of a wormhole in her red angel suit and gets slammed in.
Why does he think saying the bestest ever in that voice? Because he thinks that, like, her being competent makes her a Mary Sue, even though almost every character in Star Trek in Starfleet is always painted as incredibly competent. but because she's like a woman, he's got to think it's like some sort of like conspiracy. Like, oh, the SJWs making a Mary Sue character. Like, if it was Picard, he wouldn't give a shit. He just thinks because it's a woman of color being competent, oh, it must be some sort of propaganda piece. Cascadia 93, I mean, true to the work, whatever, but Scott Card in my Ender's Game and Rowling in my, but the less Scott Card in my Ender's Game and Rowling in my Potter, the better. Yeah.
To by the guy who is fleeing from the other guy he stole some cargo from. So the spaceship we don't care about smashes into a character we don't care about.
You don't care about. You don't care about. You don't like the show, Doomcock, and this is gonna blow your mind, Doomcock. If there's a show I don't like and characters that I don't connect to, I just don't watch that show. I don't hate watch it for years and years and years. If you don't care about the main character of Discovery, Michael Burnham, that's fine. You don't have to, but then don't watch the show. Why are you complaining about a show being produced for people that like the show, people like me, when you don't like it? It's fine. It doesn't have to be for you if you don't like it. Go watch something else. Go watch TNG or Deep Space Nine. Those exist still. Toeen 24, I bet he loves Wrath of Khan, which is very much like modern Star Trek. The hypocrisy is strong in this fanboy. Yeah. Baja Blast, I wonder if Commandant is going to complain about the fact that for the most of the ep there were no white people, because I loved that, and I'm sure the Nazis do not. Yeah, I didn't mention it, but in the first episode of Star Trek Season 3, was there a single white human with a line? I don't think there was. Michael Burnham was the main character, because she's the POV character, basically, who just got launched in the future. And then we have the space smuggler, whose name is Book, who I like. I liked him in the first episode. He basically smuggles endangered animals. He tries to stop poaching. It's a cool character. And he seems to have psychic communication powers with the animals. It's pretty cool. And then we had a bunch of aliens, but I don't think there was a single white person with a line, and the fact that that probably annoyed Doomcock makes me happy.
And both crash land on a planet. Excited yet? Welcome to STD Season 3, boldly going where no Star Trek has gone before, into a sea of red ink and financial losses. Hey.
Doomcock, they just got renewed for Season 4. Why do you keep saying this? How many times? My God, I hope Star Trek Discovery goes into 8 seasons. I just want it to get one more season than Star Trek The Next Generation, so this guy will stop saying it's a failure. This could literally get as many episodes of Star Trek TNG, and he'd still be like, it's a financial failure, it's a disaster. Clearly it's not. They keep making it.
Maybe that's why Mikey Spock is the Red Angel. She delivers CBS from profits. Angels we have heard on high, no merch in the stores to buy. That's right, friends. This show stinks so much.
What is this idea that he thinks Star Trek needs to have merchandisability to be profitable? It's not Star Wars. There's been some Star Trek merchandise. I think I own a couple Star Trek, merchandise things, but it's never been a franchise that's made its money on merchandise like Star Wars. Kids weren't playing with little Spock and Kirk dolls back in the 60s as often as they were playing with, Luke Skywalker figures in the 70s. It's just not that kind of franchise.
Almost no one wants to license anything from it. Look around Walmart, Target, the supermarket of your choice. The licensees have all but abandoned this show because they know what CBS still hasn't figured out. No one watches STD, and no one wants a Mikey Spock.
A lot of people do. In international Netflix, where the show gets, they have a deal with Netflix where it's broadcast on Netflix internationally, and in the States it's on CBS All Access. But, it was, on the top 10s on Netflix the day that the first episode was released. It's a popular show. You don't have to like it, but yeah, a lot of people do.
Spock action figure or a Saru napkin display.
Does this count as Go Woke, Go Broke? Yeah, I'll count that. That counts. Do I have that one? I don't think I do. Get woke, go
There's nothing
broke.
funny about the tools of capitalism.
Yes, Walmart, the beating hub of culture.
Spencer, or a Tilly double beer holder. Think about it. Indeed, this show sucks so bad, it has actually sabotaged the merchandising of regular Star Trek toys and products as well. I was recently
How would that work?
told that someone found McFarlane, Captain Kirk, and Captain Picard action figures discounted at Walgreens.
Because no one... Oh, let me put it this way. Because children don't buy Star Trek merchandise. Because kids don't want to play as Captain Picard. How do I put this? Kids don't want to play as Captain Picard negotiating a peace treaty between two nations. Captain Picard is cool, and I'm sure there's a plethora of Captain Picard merchandise for adults out there that's cute or that's fun. But, like, action figures? I've never seen Picard as a very action figure-y guy. You know what I mean?
Mikey Spock is the Red Ink Angel, and she has led Viacom CBS into the
Yeah, Star Trek isn't really a kid's show, and it hasn't been for quite a while. Like, I'd argue, actually, Star Trek Discovery, with the amount of action it has, is probably more kid-friendly than, like, TNG or Deep Space Nine. Those weren't really made for kids. You know what I mean? Kids can watch them, but they weren't really made for kids or toys. Tucker White 94, everything Doomcock says right now should come with a giant citation needed sticker. Yeah.
desert of brokenness to wander for the next 40 years. Go, Kurtzman. No, really, go, Kurtzman. Please, go. Go away, would you? So anyway,
He's so salty, and I kind of love it.
more nonsense happens. Mikey Spock's Red Ink Angel suit is damaged in the collision with the planet, but not really all that much, I guess, because it flies off of Mikey Spock, reassembles itself in the air like Iron Man's armor,
Yeah, it's like a super future time travel suit.
and as the wormhole she arrived in starts to close, Mikey Spock sets the Red Ink Angel suit to self-destruct and sends it shooting up toward the wormhole, where it blows up. Ta-da! But sadly, destroying the Red Ink Angel suit
Is it weird you prefer TOS? No, not at all. Like, you can like whatever Star Trek. You can like Enterprise if you want. I don't care.
doesn't help CBS bail out
Unlike Doomcock, I don't gatekeep fandoms. You can like whatever you want, and you can dislike whatever you want. If you don't like Discovery, that's fine. If you don't like TOS or TNG, that's fine. It doesn't matter to me. It's just when you try and, like, rant towards other people, like, not only do I not like this, everyone should hate it, and it is an objective failure because I personally don't like it. That's when it gets embarrassing.
out of the red ink, as CBS, with season 3 of STD, is still paying a lot of money for a show fans don't watch.
I watch it. I watch it. I'm a fan of Star Trek.
Fun fact, gang, did you know STD is pound for pound one of the most expensive shows ever made? But airing in primetime on CBS right now, it gets beaten in the ratings by game shows.
Because they already showed the first 2 episodes. This is a complete red herring. This was something that a lot of people who like Doomcock and the people from the fandom Menace, which is what they're sort of called, mentioned this. They're like, oh my god, Star Trek Discovery just got run on CBS and it got terrible ratings, ignoring the fact that the first 2 episodes were already shown on CBS All Access like years ago when the show premiered, or not on CBS All Access, just CBS broadcast, and then it got like a 10 million share, which would have put it like at the height of it, would have been put it at the top of this chart, right at or right below Big Brother. Like, they already saw those episodes, guys, and people who want to watch Star Trek have probably already seen it on CBS All Access. It's frustrating.
Like Match Game and Celebrity Family Feud, and even a rerun of The Masked Singer. Even without the suit.
Has Doomcock done a new video yet? He hasn't done a video.
Greetings,
He
future.
hasn't done a video since this definitely got renewed for season 4, and I'm so excited for the salt. He's got to do a video where he's mad about it, right?
I think I'll keep calling Mikey Spock the Red Ink Angel. Gotta have some kind of fun watching this trash. Used to be, in the olden days, the writers of a show would put the fun into their scripts. But these days, the only fun is watching.
The first episode of season 3 was very fun. There was a whole action sequence that was a lot of fun where Michael gets drugged. And that was, like, really, really fun. Did you watch the episode?
Watching the show crash into the ground and self-destruct.
Mikey Spock, he calls her this as derogatory, basically, because her name is Michael Burnham, and she's a commander on the Discovery, which is the ship in the show, if you haven't seen it. And she is a adoptive sister of Spock. So she was raised by Vulcans, and even though she's human, and he's making fun of her for that, basically, calling her Mikey Spock, which isn't, she doesn't act like Spock, really, so I don't know why he calls her that, other than to be like, she's just like, you know, Spock, she's related to Spock. Andrew Dickerson, I wonder if Doomcock has ever seen the TOS episode 21 of Season 2, Patterns of Force, where Kirk and the gang literally fight Nazis on a Nazi planet. Ooh, boy, he probably identifies with the Starfleet officer that, like, set up the Nazi planet, which was a thing. Yes. That was a weird episode of Star Trek. For those who haven't seen Star Trek, TOS, there's an episode where they go to a planet, and it's like a Nazi planet where Nazi Germany is happening right now. And then they find out how it happened, and it was a Starfleet historian went there and was like, well, they were kind of disorganized, and I, as a historian, thought maybe we could get the efficiency of Nazi Germany without the racial hatred. Whoops, turns out I was wrong. Very strange. Very strange choice on that historian's part.
Just like the Red Ink Angel. So Mikey Spock scans for life, finds life signs, then laughs and screams hysterically, over-emoting like an idiot in slow motion.
Wait, is she bland, or is she over-emoting? Which one is it, Doomcock? She's excited that all the life in the universe wasn't wiped out, like in the original timeline. I don't know if you can over-emote for that. Tucker White 94, Star Trek fighting Nazis is the kind of corny sci-fi schlock that I live for. Yeah.
For what feels like about 10 minutes, forgetting that she hasn't actually been isolated on a desert island for 3 years. She just landed and finds within minutes of landing that there's life there. So why the hysteria?
Because in the original timeline, they were trying to prevent all life in the universe was dead, and when they went to the future, they prevented that timeline, and they prevented all life in the universe from being wiped out. Did you even watch the show? Did you watch the show, dipshit? Do you not even know why she's excited? Oh my god, he doesn't even know the plot of the show he's criticizing. Ah! What a moron.
It's like she was crying and yelling, Wilson, without a volleyball. I guess it's because Mikey Spock has been labeled as wooden for 2 years, so now they wanted to give her an emotional and fiery moment, but we're not really impressed since we already know wood burns. So setting that log on fire, not really a big deal. Plus, this plot point is especially stupid, since the computer doesn't say what kind of life it has detected.
It doesn't matter what kind of life, Doomcock. It's that life is existent in the future, because the entire point of going to the future was to prevent... God, you have to get into the plot of Season 2, but basically there's a rogue AI that is going to use the Star Trek Discovery, the USS Discovery, as a means of increasing its intelligence to the point where it will end up destroying all life in the universe. So they remove themselves from the timeline, thus preventing that from happening. And so they wind up in the future, and there's life, whereas they had seen the future previously, and there was no life in the entire galaxy. So when they got to the future, and she scans, and it's like, there's life, she's like, yeah, we did it. We succeeded in the mission that was the goal of Season 2. which you would know if you watched the show, Doomcock. Are you just jumping around and you're like, I don't know why people like this show, when you're watching random episodes and it's a serialized show?
And just looking around, there are plants and birds and rocks and things, so why she gets all jumping jack flash full of gas over life being detected is really just par for the subpar course, isn't it? I mean, it doesn't say, hey, there are humans, or hey, I found your crewmates. It just says life detected. And since there's soil, air, water, and birds, no shit, Sherlock. At least we know that computer isn't an AI. There is no I there. It's just an A. So she strolls down a beach, gets incompetently attacked by the pilot she crashed into originally. She kicks his ass because she's the bestest ever, and he's a dude, so...
Again, she's a commander on one of the most important ships in the Starfleet. In the fleet of Starfleet. That sounds redundant, but that would be correct. And you're confused why she's competent at her job. Like, this would be like if when Data did something in TNG, I was like, oh, Data, he's the bestest ever! Like, yeah, he's a main character on the show. And having competent main characters is something that you wanna have in Star Trek, typically. Oh, frustrating.
Girl power, even though he's way bigger than she is, came up behind her and missed. He even has a knife, for God's sakes.
She also trained in Vulcan martial arts, and they established this in canon. True.
But sadly, he brought a knife to a wooden plank fight, and the wooden plank won. Again. I fought the plank.
That's not even what happened. She ended up pulling out a phaser, and that stopped the fight. She has a phaser, and that stopped the fight. Because she had a gun, basically, and he didn't.
And the plank won. Isn't that always the case? Because she's the bestest ever. But I digress. So the guy, named Book, doesn't want to know her name, wants nothing to do with her, attacks her repeatedly. She gets the drop on him with a phaser. He starts walking away. She says, I have lost my crew, please help me. I mean, that changes everything, right? Sure, all you had to do was ask. Despite all the unpleasantness and the fighting and him saying, I don't want to know your name, I don't want to know anything about you. Sure, okay, come on back. He invites her back.
It's the trope of like a smuggler with a heart of gold. It's very Han Solo. It's not exactly original, but it is a thing. And through the episode, we discover that while he is very standoffish and he tries to keep people away from him because of how dangerous his work is in smuggling endangered species so they can get to a refuge that he and his friends have where they can be away from poachers, we find that he's very empathetic. I don't know if he's like they didn't get a ton into it, but he can clearly talk to animals with his like abilities. So I don't know if he's like an empath like Counselor Troy, or if he's just like a straight up psychic with animals, but he's clearly very empathetic towards beings in need. So even if he's being standoffish in this moment, it makes sense that he helps her based on what we learn in the episode you supposedly watched. Do you understand how that works, Doomcock? You moron!
Back to his crash ship, introduces her to his cat, and then they set off to buy some dilithium crystals at the local flea market on this barren island. Book cloaks his ship, so I guess it can cloak even though it doesn't have any dilithium crystals. Remember when cloaking a ship took a massive amount of power? Ah, those were the treks.
It's the 32nd century. We have no idea what other alternative power source he's using to power the cloak. And again, I don't think dilithium is an actual power source. It's something used in warp reactions, but it's not like the fuel, typically. I think it's used in some other way. I don't remember. Not that it matters either way. It's just like a sci-fi concept. But, like, we're 1,000 years in the future. Who knows what they're using to power their cloak or what technology exists? That's kind of the point of setting it really far in Star Trek's future, so you can, like, have your own rules and be like, wow, look at how things have progressed.
And so, Book and Mikey
And also, this kind of canon, like, bullshit, as much as I enjoy that conversation if it's being had in good faith, though I don't think that's what Doomcock is doing here. He's trying to use some lack of, like, canon consistency in the technology as a gotcha against the show when 99% of the audience does not give a shit. I find canon interesting, but it does not matter to the story being told at all. I don't care. It doesn't matter.
Spock stroll through the desolate countryside, talking about
It's used to stabilize antimatter in the magnetic field. Okay.
exposition.
It's a medium used to control a matter-antimatter reaction. Thank you.
Turns out the Federation is gone. Book doesn't know what happened, but he points out that the awful splintered badge she wears is an antique. Turns out the Federation is gone, just like the Star Trek franchise itself. As he expositions at her, he reveals that apparently the Federation got destroyed in the Burnham.
Did Hannah prep for this video, or is she just this knowledgeable on the worst series of Star Trek? I'm very knowledgeable on Enterprise. Thank you very much. But, I like Discovery. First season's rough, but I do like the second too. It's far from the worst Star Trek material ever made. That would be, TNG seasons 1 and 2. Most of it, at least. And Enterprise. Those are trash.
The burn. Mikey Spock doesn't know what the burn was, and so he tells her. Back when Les Moonves wanted to punish Shari Redstone for opposing him, and knowing his days at CBS were numbered because of all that unpleasantness with women and so on, he negotiated a contract from hell designed to absolutely destroy the show he despised, Star Trek. Moonves negotiated a contract to make sure Alex Kurtzman, a guy who knew nothing about Star Trek and yet had the arrogance to think he knew everything about Star Trek, would forever be in control of the brand.
The Ender 92. I have had things I enjoy turn bad, but you know what I do if I don't like something? I don't watch it like an adult. You doomcock, you petulant child. Yeah, same. Like if I didn't like Star Trek Discovery, and like I said, I had problems with the first season. I just, luckily, once season 2 came around, I ended up liking it, so I like the show. But, like, if I didn't like it, I'd just be like, oh, that's a bummer. Gonna go watch something else, and then I'd go watch something else. Like, not a big deal. We live in a world of perpetual franchising. If you don't like Star Trek Discovery, it doesn't matter. There'll be new Star Trek. I would say normally 10 years from now, but there's already new Star Trek. Lower Decks exist, which is a very funny show. It's sort of a comedy animated show set in the Star Trek universe. A lot of it's just reference humor, but it's funny reference humor if you're into that sort of thing. And they're also doing Strange New Worlds, which is going to be the Captain Pike Spock show. So Star Trek is more prolific than it's ever been, and that'll probably continue. But even if it doesn't in this form, in 10, 15 years, there'll probably be another Star Trek series. It's just too big of a franchise to die. Like, and that's fine. Who cares?
That CBS would never ever be able to break the contract, and by the time it ran its course, nothing of value whatsoever would remain of Star Trek.
Iron Q-Bolt, you're totally right. I forgot Discovery was a thing.
Yep, what a burn! Yeah, and that's the story of the Burnham. The burn that destroyed Star Trek. However, Book lies to Mikey Spock in this episode, leaving out all the stuff about Kurtzman and Moonves, claiming instead that the burn was a time when most of the dilithium in the galaxy went boom. Just spontaneously exploded. No more warp-capable ships. Starfleet collapses, the Federation collapses, and
they didn't say there are no more warp-capable ships. What happened was, again, Starfleet ships. Not all ships use dilithium for this antimatter-matter reaction stuff. Other species have different things going on, but a lot of ships use dilithium in some way or another, and having them explode basically wiped out the Federation's fleet in a day. So the Federation collapsed. And starships, especially if you don't already have starships, are very resource heavy and difficult to build. So it was just a situation that really effed over the Federation. There are other ships that have warp. We know that. Book's ship has a warp drive. We know this. Like, there are ships out there that can warp. I don't know what their maximum warp rating is, but nonetheless, they can do so. It's not that warp is not a thing anymore. It's just that so many ships being destroyed and the infrastructure being destroyed across the galaxy screwed a lot of civilizations up. Cascadia93, are you saying that you don't rewatch and or are obviously not WWE fans? Are you saying that you don't hate watch, rather? I don't hate watch things.
And so here we are. Take that, Roddenberry. So much for your optimistic, adventurous, exciting vision of humanity's future. Take that and shove it up your dead ass, courtesy of Alex Kurtzman and his pals. So civilization pretty much collapsed, and they wander the desolate island until they come to an inexplicably vast, super high-tech city, which is...
It's not inexplicably. It's it's a city owned by the Tellarites and oh gosh, the power in this region are the Tellarites, which if you don't know are the blue aliens with the antenna in Star Trek, which I appreciate. More Tellarites, please. And the green species, I forgot their name. And they have a partnership, and they have built this trading post, and it's very high tech, Doomcock, because again, we are in like the 32nd century. So it's going to be high-tech relative to what we're usually seeing in Star Trek. It can still be a backwater outpost while being very high-tech because it's 1,000 years in the future almost from where we were last season. Life's too short to hate, watch, read, play things. Agree.
It's kind of like finding Hong Kong in
which is why I do it as my job.
downtown Laredo. And so,
Andorians and Orions, thank you.
Mikey Spock goes to the bazaar to sell her antique Starfleet equipment, despite the fact that the designs of that antique Starfleet equipment are so hideous that Todd McFarlane canceled a license to sell STD phasers, realizing no one wanted them, and if he tried to sell them, the Red Ink Angel would ruin him too. She gives good old...
They look basically the same as classic ones.
Book her.
Again, I find the idea that, like, oh no, everyone pulled out of, like, licensing deals for Star Trek. Like, again, Star Trek merchandise has never sold well. It sells amongst a very niche, nerdy group. And I agree, if I saw, like, oh, you want a phaser that looks like one from the TOS and it's like $20, $30, if I had the extra money, I might buy it. I like plastic crap. But, like, I don't search out Star Trek merchandise. I enjoy Star Trek. I'm a huge Star Trek fan. I'm a Star Trek fan above being, like, a Star Wars fan. But, like, I don't know. It's just not a merchandisey show for me. There's nothing about it that I really like except for maybe the ship designs. Like, if I saw some cool models of the ships, maybe that. But that's about it.
Ugly knockoff of a Wah-Chang tricorder that doesn't look like a Wah-Chang tricorder at all. Then Book tricks her into trespassing into a secure area. She gets nabbed in a stasis field that
Welcome, Daddy Sume.
lassos around her like a lasso that grows red, lasso-ly. Then they arrest her and Book takes off with her stuff. The guards drug her so they can interrogate her, and in yet another attempt to showcase her amazing acting abilities, she yammers on, laughing for the rest of the scene like
This was a funny scene. I liked this scene.
she's drunk playing a drunk in a high school play. And how does she do? To quote one of the game shows that would surely beat STD in the ratings like all the other game shows in prime time these days, the password is overacting. She gibbers, she jabbers, she waves her arms around, she laughs, she cries. It's all just so wonderful with fun.
She's on alien drugs. She's on alien drugs. That's the joke. Congrats. You've gotten the joke.
Funny music playing, telling us we should laugh. Only I didn't. The only thing to laugh about at
Yeah, dude, you hate the show. Of course you didn't laugh.
this point is CBS thinking this crap is Star Trek, and that somehow they're gonna still make some money off this garbage. So the Red Ink Angel convinces the guards to help her go get Book. Then it turns out that the guy that was chasing Book because
There was an entire episode of Star Trek The Next Generation where the problem was there was a phenomenon that was making everyone on the ship act like they were drunk. Characters getting drugged by alien things or phenomena is not new to Discovery.
because Book stole some cargo from him, has caught up to Book. So then Mikey Spock shows up with the guards and punches Book. Then Mikey Spock helps Book to escape by shooting up everything, all while laughing and joking on the drugs like an idiot. And yeah, It does play as annoying and random as it sounds. Kind of like a kid writing a story and saying, and then this happens, and then this happens, and then it goes, and then it goes pew pew. And then the
Never forget that episode in TNG when Tate got laid.
kid gets beat up on the playground for his lunch money because he's annoying the other kids. STD is costing CBS its lunch money, but that's what happens when you die.
Again, there's no evidence of that.
Nothing funny about the tools of
Doomcock.
capitalism.
CBS is a for-profit company. If they were losing money on Star Trek Discovery, why would they have just renewed it for season 4? What would the purpose be? Why would they be doing Lower Decks, which again was very successful and very funny? Why would they be doing the other spin-off series that they're working on? The premise that they are somehow losing money on Star Trek Discovery, like, if that turned out to be true, fine, but I would be very confused about their actions if that were the case. If you have evidence that it's actually losing money, then demonstrate that. But if you have no evidence of it, when you keep insisting that it's losing them money hand over fist, and they keep renewing it, it just makes you look like an idiot.
With the red ink angel. It takes your lunch money. So then Mikey Spock stumbles across some tiny shards of dilithium crystals that are just lying around, easily accessible in a case in the open.
No, they were in a laser grid. Again, now he's just lying about the content of what's happening in the show. They were in, like, a laser grid safe, and they had to, like, deactivate it before they could go and, like, get all of them. Like, was he not paying attention? Did he just think he could lie about stuff that's happening in the show? I don't know. Antipodian Squid with 10 bits. Doomcock getting mad that the main character is boring, then gets mad that she acts like an idiot when she's on alien drugs. I'm starting to think maybe he's the boring one, and also never been or seen anyone on drugs. Maybe he needs to learn to have fun. He's just gonna complain about literally everything. Like he just doesn't care. It's not about the actual quality of the show or what's happening. It's just any excuse that he can think of to shit on a show that he doesn't like. Daddy Sume with 10 bits. It was the second episode and it was awful. Daddy developed a crush on Tasha Yar because they boned. When it seemed like she barely noticed he existed after that. It's kind of sad when you notice he keeps that hollow of her. Oh god, true.
Weird kind of thing for something that's become so rare because most of it exploded in the burn. And she scoops up these little tiny shards of dilithium crystal that wouldn't power shit, frankly. And she steals them while laughing like a jackass, and then magically Book and Mikey Spock get transported outside the city.
What do you mean magically? Again, his use of words implies that he wasn't paying any attention. They were magically teleported. No, they literally had a scene where he explains, oh yeah, we have portable teleporters, and he had one, and he used it to teleport them. What do you mean magically? If that's magically, then every use of a teleporter in Star Trek canon is magically. Toading 24, we need that's not how capitalism works for Chud Bingo. True.
But then they get tracked by guys that also magically transport outside the city.
It's not magic. It's they have future teleporter technology where they literally are wearing portable teleporters that can teleport them places. They explain this in the episode you are talking about.
So they have to fight some more with these big clunky flashlight things, pew pew, and then they jump again, and the guys jump again.
The flashlight things are guns. They're like guns that go on their fists. A little bit like Mega Man. You know what I mean? It like kind of covers, but then it shoots like a death laser.
Again, more pew pew, and yeah, rinse and repeat. It's as dumb as it sounds, folks. I'm not gonna bother to describe everything that goes on here. They fight. Their weapons need to recharge. Exciting music plays. They escape by jumping off a cliff into some water. And water...
Imagine if I described, like, the scene in Endgame, the final battle, and I was like, yeah, and then there's, like, a bunch of superheroes who just magically get there for no reason, and then, oh, the Hulk runs and he punches a guy, and then Spider-Man's doing stupid web things, and all people are in Iron Man outfits, and they're punching lasers, pew pew, and it was real stupid. Like, you can describe any battle scene that way, and again, it just makes you sound like an asshole. Like, if you don't like the show, that's fine. I understand. That's fine. You don't have to like it. But the fact that you're spending your time to just describe scenes that are fine in and of themselves, including this action scene, like it was well put together for an action scene, it was fine. And the fact that you're just taking your time to whine and be like, oh, it's all just pew pew lasers, it's so stupid, then don't watch it. Then don't watch it. It's fine. You don't have to like it. No one cares if you don't like it.
Messes with the ability of the city guards to track them, and then Mikey Spock punches Book. Just because. Cut to commercial. When they come back, Book then chants and a pattern of red lights appear on his head, and he grows a plant with healing
Pretty sure they're orange.
properties out of the ground to heal Mikey Spock. So basically, this is a little bit like Avatar meets The Happening. Hey plant, how's it going? And yes, it's as delightful as it sounds, which is to say, not at all. After the raid on the flea market, Mikey Spock calls for discovery using some of the crystal shards they stole to power a transmitter, but there's no reply. Just like when STD has a panel at a
Riani Daso Shogun, thank you for following.
virtual New York Comic Con. They put out a call for fans using their stolen franchise, and there's virtually no reply there either. Funny the parallels in this show between the devastation
Yo
of
and
the future
B80
Federation
with 10
and the
bits.
devastation of the
I was so worried when Pike showed up in season 2. I thought they were appeasing the Chuds. It seems so shoehorned during the episode, but he turned out good though. I love Captain Pike, played by Anson Mount. I'm very excited for they're doing the spin-off show, Strange New Worlds, with Pike as the captain. I think that'll be great. He's a really, really good Star Trek captain.
Star Trek franchise. So yeah, the trackers get the drop on Book and Mikey Spock, the Red Ink Angel yet again. They want the cargo code from Book. Book says they won't want it, so we know it's probably alive and will immediately attack them as soon as they open the cargo bay, and what do you know? It does! Book tells Mikey Spock to close her eyes. They use the code to open the cargo hold, and the monster in the cargo hold comes out and eats all the bad guys, but spares Book and Mikey Spock when Book uses his nature powers to calm and control the monster. Although the monster does briefly eat Mikey Spock, it spits her out, because apparently Mikey Spock tastes like shit. So
It's because Book tells the thing to spit her out, and he can communicate with animals. And again, making fun of psychic abilities in Star Trek is very strange. This is not new. Counselor Troy, a main character on the bridge in Star Trek The Next Generation, was an empath betazoid. Betazoids, and she's only half betazoid. Most betazoids have full psychic abilities and can read people's minds and communicate with them telepathically. Like, the fact that this guy is a different alien who can communicate with animals, that's not out of line for Star Trek. There are multiple alien species that have some sort of psychic abilities. Even Vulcans, they can do the mind meld, which is like an extension of some sort of psychic ability. Wagroads 13, this is just the worst. Star Trek fans that hate on Star Trek Discovery is the definition of toxic fandom.
Book
Troy's mom was Betazoid, not her dad. Did I say the opposite? Sorry if that was the case. Yeah, her Diana, what's her name? What's her mom's name? She hit on Picard a lot.
Book and Mikey
Loxana Troy. There we go.
Spock, the Red Ink Angel, fly off into space and talk about Book's swell natural nature powers. And turns out Book is a sweetheart. He stole the monster just so he could return it to its home so it could frolic with its pals. So the monster's frolic.
Again, no. You didn't even, like, did he watch the episode? He's not taking it home. He and his friends run a wildlife refuge for endangered species and keep them protected from poachers. He did not take it home. He took it to this sanctuary. Did he even watch the episode, or did he just skim the Wikipedia page? Really don't know on this one.
Frolic a bit, and then Book takes Mikey Spock to an old Starfleet relay station. Then the guy we saw in the opening, the boring guy, remember him? He says, hey, welcome to Starfleet. He introduces himself as the Federation liaison. Mikey Spock asks him about tracking down the Discovery. He tells her, well, it's not in this sector, though there are 2 Federation vessels flying around in the sector. Long-range scans no longer work, so who knows? Mikey Spock tells the guy she's from the past, before the burn, that her ship traveled with her, but they got separated. So now, the guy tells Mikey Spock, yes, this is really boring, isn't it? I'm sorry, but this is the way it is.
Okay, so you don't like when it's pew-pew lasers, and you make fun of that for being too actiony. And now that it's actually slowed down to have a character moment, which this scene is, if you've seen the episode, it's very much a character moment about Michael and this guy who's been, like, holding on to this for someone who's been, you know, in Starfleet, whatever, for however long. Now that it's slowed down, now you're going to make fun of it for being boring. So which is it? Is the show too pew-pew lasers action? Or is it boring, sitting around, talking, exposition, character moments? Do you see what I mean when I'm talking about he's literally just, he's describing every scene and then criticizing each scene for existing? Like, it doesn't matter what the scene is. He's just picking something about it that you could theoretically criticize and doing that. It's so fucking blatant, and it's so annoying. Dr. Gamble with 10 bits. I'm sorry, Doomcock. I made an oath to refuse any reviews from someone in a bionicle mask.
The guy tells Mikey Spock he is not a commissioned officer. His father was, his father before him, but not officially sworn in. But this guy just lives in this office every day for 40 years,
Ethendal, thank you for following.
hoping someone will show up.
Yes, which again, you could also complain often about the lack of, like, idealism about Starfleet and say, like, oh, Roddenberry's vision. Like, that's very within Roddenberry's vision that someone who believed in the idea of the Federation would spend every day living on this station just with the hope that someday someone would come along and help them rebuild the Federation. Or Starfleet. Whatever. Discovery does do a thing where they kind of conflate Starfleet with the Federation a lot, even though they're technically separate entities. So now I end up doing it. But, like, that's very in line with TNG TOS ethos of the Federation. That is this thing that should exist, and it's full of idealists. So you can't make fun of this while also claiming the show doesn't do this.
That hope is you, Commander Burnham. He does not know
See ya, Antipodian Squid. Thanks for coming to the stream.
how much Federation still exists, but has, like, just the same, devoted his life and his father's life before him and his father's father's life before that on this silly-ass vain hope that someone from the Federation is going to walk through there and need him. The guy saved a flag for her, so she takes the flag and hangs it up and gives him a commission to be a comm officer to search for her.
Again, he's completely misrepresenting what happens in the scene, which again makes me think he has not actually seen the episode, or if he was barely paying attention. The guy has a flag on his desk, and he says, I'm not a commissioned officer. I cannot hang this flag up, only a commissioned officer can, and it's a Federation flag that he wants to put on the wall. And then Burnham doesn't put the flag up. She says, you can do it. I'm commissioning you as an officer. And it's like a sweet moment where it's like he's been waiting all these years for someone from the Federation to come and commission him so he can actually be a Federation officer. And he then hangs it up, right? Like, he's misrepresenting what happened in that scene almost entirely. Like he was, like, again, like he hasn't seen it, but he read a Wikipedia summary that wasn't completely accurate. It's very strange.
Ship. They play noble, uplifting music so that we know the idea of a guy devoting his entire life waiting 40 years on a space station like his dad and his grandfather before him, 40 years doing nothing but sleeping, eating, cleaning his teeth, and staring at a wall with his hand on a Starfleet case like a zombie is inspiring rather than creepy.
I'd imagine he did other stuff. Those are just the things we literally saw him on screen doing. Like, he probably did other stuff.
Can you imagine?
That was just his job, right? He was, like, being a vanguard for the Federation, and that's fine.
What an idiot! This is a guy who never even knew the Federation, never knew Starfleet.
He did. His dad and his grandfather were in Starfleet, so even if he wasn't around during its heyday, he's certainly heard about it from them.
He just hangs out there in his barren space station that doesn't even have permanent furniture, for Christ's sake. Doesn't that sound...
It doesn't need permanent furniture? They have
There's nothing funny
nanobots
about
that
the
can
tools
literally
of
make any
capitalism.
kind of furniture you need. Very tall hobbit with 100 bits. This guy strikes me as the kind of guy who would go see Transformers, then complain that it was all robots and explosions. That's a good example. Like, I don't like the Transformers movies, but I don't spend all day and make all my videos about how much I hate Transformers and how it's bad. I just don't watch them. I'm not saying it's impossible or a bad idea to criticize things you don't like. I'm saying if it is your focus and that's the entirety of your YouTube channel where you're like, boy, Star Trek sure does suck, am I right? That's pretty embarrassing.
Sound a bit like a version of purgatory. Welcome to STD. It's a hell of a show. Emphasis on hell. Is there an upside to this episode? Yes. We don't have to put up with Stamens, Saru, Lisa Left Eye, or Tilly, bless her big boobed heart. We don't have to watch evil alternate universe Giorgio committing atrocities and sneering at everything and everyone as being beneath her. We don't have to deal with Dr. Mushroom, no stupid spores, without having to look at the hideous Discovery with its absurdly advanced tech that makes a joke out of every single Star Trek show that came before it just by existing. We aren't constantly bombarded with canon violations, idiocy like Sonar
Not the canon! Oh no! Who cares?
in space, and ugliness like severed Klingon baby heads and gouged out eyes. After all that, a boring barren island, even with Hong Kong hidden in the middle of Laredo, is refreshing as all get out by comparison. Boredom is a nice break from the constant cacophony of caca that is typical in an STD episode. But Sonequa Martin Green has gone from being wooden to stilted overacting that is utterly unconvincing and frankly, a bit embarrassing.
The fact that Doomcock thinks literally anyone else is embarrassing is pretty embarrassing considering his whole thing.
I mean, I'm sure she's a very warm person in real life. I've heard she's well liked on the set. But for some reason, she just can't seem to handle genuine warm scenes with humor and laughter, at least not on this show.
Again, I disagree. I thought the drug scene was funny.
Her laughter comes off as forced and somewhat desperate, tinged with hysteria, as if she's desperately waiting for the director to finally end the suffering and call cut. Book was a little stiff, but otherwise not bad. He seemed genuine at times. Most everyone else was cut out of cardboard, and the actors read their lines accordingly. And thus, my review of Star Trek Discovery Season 3, Episode 1 concludes. And I'm here to tell you folks, it still sucks. Although it is a different kind of suck from what came before, but don't worry. Once the Discovery shows up again, we will again join the originally scheduled suck, already in progress. From the center of the earth, this is Dictor Van Doomcock bidding you all, my friends, stay angry.
Oh my god, he is so embarrassing.
Greetings.
Boy, I cannot wait until the video and the freak out he's gonna have because it got renewed for Season 4. That's gonna be beautiful. God, that one took a while. Sorry, guys. That's enough Doomcock for a bit. Okay, how about this one? Off-topic, trans pronouns, free speech, and DMCA versus fair use for content creators. Someone sent me this. I don't know. Let me see. Did I miss anything else? Degenerate, American Dreams, Homelander's Culture. I'm going to say complaining about minority protagonist counts, considering how much he talked about Michael Burnham in that one.
Good morning, everybody. It's Jason Blaha here, and I thought I would just kind of make an off-topic video because I've done so much informative content for you guys lately. And remember, you guys saw the title when you clicked on the video. One of the things that I got was when I did my video last night on the whole transgender athlete being the track star. Quite a few members of the trans community came in and started jumping all over me about pronouns, which you guys can see here.
Let's see what the people said in this video. I assume he did a video on transgender athletes and then probably misgendered a bunch of people. This person says, Jason, you don't seem to understand what they need to go through. At least 1 year of hormone therapy, which severely decreases testosterone levels. Some may have had surgery. You don't know for sure. This isn't just men walking in to compete against girls so they can win. This is hardworking and driven trans women who don't want to stop living their lives due to a setback. They didn't choose to be born in the wrong body. If they had the choice when born, they would have chosen female. Same with trans men would choose to be male. Jason, you need to learn more on the topic and use proper pronouns. If you're going to speak to a large audience, you need to use correct pronouns. She is a she, transgender or not. Yeah, I agree. Cody Talks says, despite your holdups on trans individuals in sports, please use the correct pronouns with the trans girl. Just have some respect. Then feel free to state your opinion. I pretty much agree with that. I don't know a lot about the whole, transgender sports thing. From what I understand, again, after like 2 years on hormones, I've been on hormones 2 years. It changes your body pretty drastically. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm not a sports person, so I don't typically talk about the transgender individuals and sports things. But yes, you need to respect people's pronouns. People are going to be like, I don't need to do anything. Okay, you don't literally have to by the law, but if you don't respect, like, people's preferred name and calling them she if they're she and he if they're he, and I'm talking about their, like, gender identity, I don't care what their genitals are, then you're a dick. You're a dick if you misgender people intentionally. You're an absolute asshole. I get people make mistakes. I've made mistakes and accidentally said, without thinking, called someone, the wrong pronoun or whatever. But in that case, you're just like, oh my gosh, I'm sorry. I apologize. And then you correct yourself. And that's fine. Making mistakes is okay as long as you own up to them. Intentionally doing so just makes you an absolute cock.
And some of them got a little more belligerent with it as they went, and I banned one of them. Alright guys, that's the beauty of living in a free country and what people need to...
That's always what people with shitty opinions fall back on. You ever notice that? They can't defend what they're doing by the nature of it, so they just fall back to, well, it's not illegal. Like, yeah, alright. No one said it was illegal. You're not going to get locked up. We're saying you're a dick. Address that. Why are you intentionally being a dick?
Remember is that I'm kind of part of the alt-right, and I'm somewhat anti-establishment, and so that...
Alt-right and being anti-establishment are not this. You can't. Those are incongruous with each other. Daddy Sume, it's not illegal to send someone dick pics, but it's still a dick move. And I think it actually depends on the state. I think some states do make that illegal. If you send unsolicited dick pics to people, it's not cool.
That being said,
It's basically, I think in some places, akin to flashing someone.
Under no obligation to conform to any social agenda that other people throw at me. This isn't 1984.
Again, no one's saying it's... Hold on, we'll leave a comment. No one is saying it's illegal for you to misgender people. It just makes you a cunt.
We don't have thought police, and no, just because you believe it strongly enough, 2 + 2 doesn't equal 5. So that being said, due to free speech, which I very much believe in, these people have every right in the world to ask me to use whatever pronouns they see fit. That is within their right, absolute free speech, to ask me to do something. And it is within my right as an American citizen protected by the First Amendment to then use whichever pronouns I see fit, whatever.
Again, no one is saying it's illegal for you to do so. You're just an a-hole. Like, you don't need to do anything in terms of this. But what we were saying is, you are a jerk for doing so, and people are not going to want to deal with you when you were a jerk. And then you get people who are like, oh, this is cancel culture. Yes, there are consequences for your actions. If you're a jerk to other people consistently, and the only thing you can do to defend your actions is say, well, it's not illegal, then people are going to disengage with you socially. People don't want to deal with people like that.
I feel like saying, welcome to America, welcome to freedom.
We got arresting people for misgendering. Is that a bingo?
We both got to
He didn't say that that's the case, though. He's saying that that's not the case, so I don't know if that counts.
say what we wanted to say. And nobody was harmed in any way through the exchange.
No, I'm going to disagree with that one. Again, you have the legal right to be an a-hole and misgender someone, I guess, if you want. You're still a jerk, and you shouldn't do that. But saying no one is harmed is not true. Being misgendered actually really harms trans people, depending on the trans person. I guess there are probably people who it doesn't bother them, but a lot of trans people, I would even argue probably most trans people, yes, it bothers us quite a bit to be misgendered. Like, it sucks. It sucks a lot, and you're hurting that person. So, that's why it's an a-hole move. Feminist Critique, thank you for subscribing. Hi, Hannah, hope you're having a great one. I'm doing pretty well, thank you. Thanks for subscribing. The Ender92 with 10 bits. Hey, stop being an asshole. No, okay, asshole. Surprised Pikachu face. Daddy Sume with 10 bits. How do you think this guy would react if I started calling him princess to his face every time I saw him? Do you think he'd change his tune? He wouldn't recognize the hypocrisy, that's for sure. Did I miss one? That Jesse Porter, thank you for following. Welcome to the stream.
That's freedom. The other thing, quite a few people have noted lately, the whole thing with copyright claims. In fact, someone had asked me a question here about it, my thoughts on the YouTube thing. Yeah, some people have picked up on the fact that, yes, I have previously been hit with one. I know how the fair use policy works on YouTube. And I also, while rebranding some of my stuff and dealing with some other things and some cyber stalking and working with the FBI on this, some situations going on, I have also spoke quite a bit with a
Did he already delete my comment? So I write a comment that says, no one's telling you it's illegal to misgender people, it just makes you a cunt. And then he immediately deletes my comment. So much for absolute freedom of speech, am I right, folks? That tracks. And again, I don't have anything against that. I delete comments on my YouTube channel somewhat regularly, and I hide people, so a lot of John Doyle people will come and make, you know, trolly comments, and I'll hide them, and that's fine. And on your YouTube channel, you're free to do the same. But if you find yourself extolling free speech absolutism, and not just in the legal sense where the government can't arrest you, but literally saying, like, all opinions should be heard, even bad ones, and then you delete comments, you're a hypocrite. 74 Quinn 74. I know many trans NBs are often cool with any pronouns, but it's often baffled me personally, at least a little. It certainly depends on the person. Lumi, who I raid somewhat often, they prefer they them pronouns for sure. So Emma Addicted with 10 bits. My friend was big on defending creepy stuff like people kissing women's hands around here until I started to do it to him every time we met. After 2 times, he was like, "You're right, it's creepy." Yeah, good. Yeah, so it just depends on the individual.
And copyright lawyer, and so I've devised some strategies myself. I know a lot about YouTube's policies and these other channels online's policies on how these things work. My advice to content creators: make original content. Don't base your content upon ripping other people's stuff, because basically YouTube will allow certain amounts of fair use, and it's a reasonable amount, but fair use can't be like harassment or malicious intent. If you make 5 or 6 videos where you have taken other people's copyrighted material and you're trying to use it as fair use, YouTube is absolutely not going to accept that.
It very much depends upon the context. It very much depends. Like, for instance, Jeremy looks at sometimes other YouTubers or Twitch streamers, and he's allowed to do that within certain bounds, as long as he's not actively harassing or like sending people to go harass the individual. The same applies like to me. We can watch this guy, we can watch Jeremy, we can watch Doomcock, as long as we aren't going to harass those people. That's fine. On YouTube, you're allowed to react to other people's content, as long as it falls within fair use.
You've done that to someone, you might want to be nice in what you say about them, because that person can take your channel away at any time. pretty much if you've done something like that, you probably want to basically suck that person's dick in terms of what you're saying about them, because your channel now exists at their leisure. That person can basically at that point, with 15 minutes of typing and hitting the right forms, have your channel shut down permanently. Even if you feel it's fair use, YouTube's only going to let you file 1 or 2, and at the very most 3 fair use policy claims against someone. They see anything beyond that. If you've taken more than about that much, and sometimes they won't even give you that much, if you've taken that much of someone else's video, they're going to see it as harassment, and rightly so, because that's not fair use.
It depends. It very much depends on the context. Again, if you're commenting on people, yeah, it falls under fair use. There have been specific people who have got for this. I think Leafy, that's what Leafy got banned for, but that's because he was, like, harassing someone. He was actually harassing them consistently with their content. That was different, and it had nothing to do with use of the content. It was that he was harassing her in the videos.
It's not criticism. That is basically just theft of intellectual property at that point for your own financial profit.
Probably a help for review. Yeah, it could have been because I used the C word.
That's not even considered rightful criticism anymore. It's just flat harassment. And that's an absolute violation of YouTube's policies. When you signed up for YouTube and when you signed up for AdSense, you agreed to their rules. You signed a contract agreeing to their rules and their terms of service.
Just talk about DMCAs for the rest of this.
Ever have 3 that are public to do that, because...
All right. I think we're done with this dude. He already did the trans pronouns thing. Do you have other videos? Is this someone I should put on? Oh, God. It's like all weightlifting videos, which is fine. I don't care. It's not something that interests me. How did someone find that one video and then send it to me? It's like all weightlifting. All right. Moving on. Okay, let's do this last video and then we'll call it a night. There's a difference between harassing and reporting on. Like, the people that comment on Onision stuff are talking about serious issues the Onion Boy has done, but Onision is all, no, it's harassment, but, yeah, it depends. It all depends upon the context and what's being said. You went to someone else says they went to the video and made a similar comment without using the C word and it was immediately deleted. He probably had misgendered flagged. Nice. Anyway, so here's Anthony Spade. He's like a MGTOW dude. Or a red pillar. Maybe red pill would be a better word for him. Says, are there any women with good qualities in 2020? And I'm pretty sure he's using an apostrophe wrong. With good qualities in 2020. What would the apostrophe be? That's possessive. It in 2020 is owned by qualities. I'm not gonna grammar Nazi this. I make that mistake too sometimes with apostrophes. Let's get to the content.
I may know it.
Sigma Nation. This is the guy that thinks he's not just an alpha male. He's a Sigma male, which we watched that video a while back.
What's her name?
Ashley, from the north side with the big booty, man.
From the north side. I cannot.
Oops. This is like a fake trailer he put together for something?
With the big fat booty.
Ashley, from the north side with the big booty.
What?
You better not be messing with me, man. Stop it.
Okay. Where did you meet her at?
Downtown at the Jamaican spot. Why?
Ross the man, wake up. I gotta talk to you.
I met her down at the Bogey.
I don't know what this is. I gotta get to the video, though. She Belongs to the Streets series, Monday, 11:30 a.m. Oh, God.
Can you...
Is he making a fiction show? That's pretty... Maybe we need to watch that sometime. What's MGTOW? Men going their own way. MGTOW are basically incels that think they're too good to call themselves incels. They call themselves men going their own way because they're incels that basically say, like, women aren't ignoring me and don't want to be with me, I don't want to be with them. And then, even though they're called men going their own way, because ostensibly the point would be to not pursue women, not really deal with women, just kind of go and work on themselves and be individuals, which would be fine if that's what they were doing. But instead they spend all their time doing the incel thing where they just insult women all the time. So, fun stuff. Towing24, toot toot, Captain Cringe ahoy. Ooh, that might be a good thing for Captain Cringe. What's Sigma? Okay, oh, the Sigma thing. He made a video a while back where he claimed that he's not an alpha male. He is a Sigma male. And it's been a while, but if I remember correctly, basically he thinks Sigma male is above alpha male. And in short, it's basically an alpha male who is an introvert. It's an introverted alpha male, and he thinks this is better than being an alpha male because you don't have to depend upon other people. So he's a Sigma male. He's an alpha male that doesn't need anyone. And that was the crux of the video.
Spot a good woman? Stay tuned.
Welcome to the Anthony Spade channel.
That isn't how the Greek alphabet works. I mean, if we're gonna start talking about everything this guy doesn't understand, we're gonna be here all day.
Welcome back to the Anthony Spade channel. Before I get started, I want you to watch the entire video. If you like the video,
shouldn't wear headphones while you drive. I'm pretty sure that's illegal.
Comment, like, subscribe at the end of the video, but first, watch the entire video. Okay, today we're going to be talking about how to spot a good woman. Now, the reason why I'm making this video is because someone asked me to make the video in the comments. And when it comes to a lot of us content creators, that's what keeps us going. So thank you for asking the question. But in today's society, it may look like you may not be able to spot one because of all the filth that's walking around, but there are cases that you can. And
Daddy Sume with 10 bits axed. Some people just talk like that. I'm not gonna make fun of how the dude talks.
I'm gonna drop some tips that you guys should look for whenever you're looking to spot a good woman, because you could be overlooking one. All right, let's get started. First, she looks very boring. Understand, good girls live life based off of their emotions, how nice they can be with people. They're the same as like a beta male nice guy. They don't want to never be looked at as a bad person because they're never truly trying to dominate anyone.
Okay, this is a lot to go through. This is a very dense statement. Okay, so good women are like beta males in that they aren't trying to dominate anyone. They're minding their own business, and their main concern is being seen as nice by other people. There's a lot of problems with these statements. First of all, everyone should care if they're a nice person, at least a little bit, okay? Or at least a good person. You don't have to be nice, but you should be good, okay? Nice is good on top of that, but at least be a good person. You should care about that. And if you define you being an alpha male by not caring if you're a good person or a nice person, then you're probably not an alpha male, especially considering that doesn't exist. You're probably just an asshole. Okay? Second of all, why are you trying to dominate anyone ever outside of a relationship where that is the dynamic already? You should not be out in public having conversations with normal other people and trying to dominate them, okay? That's weird. And if that's how you go about your interactions in everyday life, again, you probably fall into the asshole category. Thirdly, the fact that you think that good women are akin to beta males makes me wonder, maybe you should just date some beta males then. Have you considered that? Apparently they have similar qualities that you're looking for. Just saying. Maybe look into it. You used my chosen word, says Daddy Sume. Oh god.
So when it comes to a good woman, she's always boring. She never dresses to impress. All right, and
I feel like this is the same guy that if he had a girlfriend and the girlfriend was wearing, you know, normal clothes, but nothing too, like, flashy or crazy, he'd probably complain, why don't you ever dress up nice when I take you out? You can't win with these people.
A lot of guys overlook these type of women because these women may look like they're not up with the modern society, that they're not up with the modern girl. And a lot.
Someone should introduce this guy to the girl-defined ladies. They're both married, but let's be honest, at least one of those marriages might be a sham anyway. So maybe introduce the girl-defined lady to this guy and we'll see what happens.
A lot of cases, you catch a lot of
He wants a trad wife. He wants a trad wife.
These women around their grandma. Or you watch them doing boring things. So understand, the first tip is knowing she looks boring. There's a difference between boring and trashy. She still knows how to keep herself looking decent, but she's never dressing to impress. That's one sign that's gonna let you know that she's got a quality of a good woman. She dresses comfortable. And not just comfortable, I mean comfortable, casual, not comfortable where I'm gonna wear my pajamas and sweatpants all day. Next.
How dare you? I feel personally attacked. I'm always wearing pajama pants or sweatpants because I work from home and none of you see me from the waist down ever. It's fantastic. Choose a life where you can wear sweatpants, folks. It's fantastic. Tate spends his time, we talk about Tate a lot. Tate feels like money's the greatest thing in the world. I think the greatest thing in the world is that I get to wear pajama pants all day long most of the time. And it's pretty fantastic. The Shadow Witch with 20 bits. There was a point in an undergraduate E&M course we had so many variables we ran out of Greek letters, so my professor made up the Greek letter Pomega. This dude is Pomega because he be fake as shit. And then Legend of Phoenix says, also sweatpants and hoodies are literally a fashion thing right now. That's a good, I didn't know that because I don't interact with other people. So I don't know what's in style right now. Daddy Sume with 10 bits. F sweatpants. I hate sweet sweatpants. Shorts are where it's at. Ugh. I don't like shorts. It's probably because I don't like my legs, though. I think my legs look gross. But that's a whole list of things that I don't like about myself, and that's just one of them.
She'll never be your equal. Understand that. When it comes to a good girl, she's always looking for an alpha man because she does not try to compete with a man. You know what I mean? She's always seeking leadership. So a lot of you guys have to understand that good women are not going to be able to talk at your speed. They're not going to be able to walk.
Honestly, I'm just going to say, since I came out, right? Since I came out as trans, my favorite piece of clothing that has, you know, become accessible to me, it always is. I'm not telling people they need to wear, you know, typically. The thing that has become all of a sudden, at least in my opinion, socially acceptable for myself to wear, leggings. Oh my god. Guys, leggings are the best thing ever. They're fucking amazing. I need to buy more leggings. They're like sweatpants, but they're not too hot. They're comfortable. They come in all sorts of cool designs. They're amazing. Daddy Sume with 10 bits. There's a difference between good and submissive. You want a submissive woman and you can have trash submissive women. And that's the thing. There's nothing wrong with someone being submissive if that's how they want to be. But like, acting as though that's how all good, like, women should be is weird. People are individuals. Some people are gonna be more dominant, both in a relationship and in, let's say, intimate places in a relationship. And some people are gonna be more submissive, and that's fine. That's fine. It's all fine. And it's not necessarily gendered.
Walk at your speed. They're not going to be able to debate with you. They're not going to be able to argue with you. Because that's what they're not there for. A good woman.
Daddy Sume with 10 bits. Daddy gang rise up. Oh, God.
Understands that, all right, I am a frail, sensitive woman, and I need me a king. I cannot do it all on my own.
Gross.
So in a lot of cases, a good girl is not afraid to tell you where her weaknesses are and where she needs help and can she get help here. She's already bred to be led. She's ready.
Bred to be led is the most disgusting sentence I've heard all day. Bred to be led. Look, it's great if you have a partner who is supportive and helpful and you can support each other, and that's a fantastic thing. But boy, is it creepy if you feel like you're a non-functional person and you need some significant other to come in and, like, dominate you into being functional. That's not good.
For you to guide her in the direction that she goes. So understand.
Daddy Sume, that's some racist stuff. It's a slave owner line. What the heck? Oh, I didn't even know that. Is there like historical context behind bred to be led? I didn't know that, if that's the case.
The second sign is that she's never trying to compete with you psychologically or physically. I'm not saying she's submissive. She just realized that she is weaker than the average.
Daddy Sume wants a link. Okay. Here's a link if you'd like it to the video for some reason.
Man. Next, they like taking care of the elderly. All right? You'll always catch a good woman taking grandma somewhere. You know what I mean? Or going to go cater to senior citizens. Or doing volunteer work. A lot of good women do volunteer work to keep them busy because they don't go to any clubs. They don't drink, they don't smoke, they don't do any of those things.
It's good if anyone would like to go and do volunteer work. That's great. Well,
so a lot of good women are always around.
Very tall hobbit, thank you for the 50 bits.
Around older people to help older people because that's where she gets to utilize most of her heart at. Or she does volunteer work. She'll go and help the homeless. You'll always see good women doing these type of things with other people around them. It's because
volunteer work is good, but do you go and do volunteer work? Like, it just seems to me it's weird that you would maybe have a double standard where you want your significant other to go out and do volunteer work and you consider that a good thing. That is a sign of a moral individual, but you yourself might not be doing that. And I could be wrong. Maybe he does do volunteer work, and if so, that's awesome. But it just seems weird to me that he's gendering the idea of doing volunteer work.
Because they don't get off with gossip. They don't get off with attention. They don't get off with paying attention to what everybody else is doing.
If you don't think people who work at volunteer organizations aren't gossiping about each other, you're nuts. Anytime, and I'm not saying this is women, I'm saying this is everyone. Everyone likes gossip at a workplace, whether it's volunteer or paid work. Anytime there's a group of individuals who work together, there is drama and tea, okay? And it is always worthwhile.
When it comes to a good woman, she likes to keep herself surrounded with so much good people that she really, tell you the truth, she don't even understand negativity. When negativity comes around, she gets away from it. So understand. She really caters to older people. She loves to be respected. Next, this is the type of girl that likes to go bike riding. She likes to go running. She likes to go walking. She likes to go sightseeing. All right? These are the type of...
These are good qualities for most people. Being active, that's good. You should be active. I agree, I guess. But again, you should be too. Yeah.
Girls that you want to look for. If a lot of you guys are into fitness and you're into biking, you're gonna always come across good girls. Whenever I go biking and I stop and I talk to women, a lot of these girls are decent women. They're not running around trying to be succubus. They're girls that...
If you went around and talked to most people anywhere, men or women, they're going to be decent people. The majority of people are decent, at least a good portion of them. I feel like you have some sort of bias going on here because those are the people you happen to talk to, and because they come off as nice, genuine people, you then think, oh, it must be people who ride bikes who are really nice and great, when really it's just those happen to be the people that you're talking to. And also, calling other women succubuses, that's some questionable shit.
That always stay active in the right direction. Understand, a good woman is gonna exercise her...
What's the male version of a succubus? I forget. I know Alenia in our D&D campaign got seduced by one. Male succubus. Incubus. There we go. Go.
There's nothing funny about the tools of capitalism.
Yes, Incubus. Thank you.
Her mind in the right direction. A bad woman is going to exercise her mind with
Why the frowny face, Legend of Phoenix? That was a funny thing that happened, dang it.
nothing but distractions. So understand, if she likes to
you didn't even sleep with the Incubus. It was just funny.
go walking, bike riding, do simple things that make her happy. Picnics, those type of things make a good girl happy. Nothing materialistic. Nothing. If she's materialistic, you're going on the bad girl side. Non-materialistic, and she likes the simple things in life to be happy, now you're going in the right direction of a good girl. You got to make sure you have some of these traits as well. Next, this is the type of woman that all
capitalism.
Daddy Sume, he has discovered a dog. He is just describing a dog.
Always wants you to taste something that she made. A good girl loves to cook.
Oh my god, guys. Jake is a good girl. Did you know that? Jake loves to cook. If Jake decided to transition tomorrow, maybe we should get Jake in contact with this guy. They'd probably be perfect for each other.
And the reason why she cook is to see the expression on somebody's face when they eat the food. So understand, a good girl will want to brag about her favorite meal that she loves to cook. She'll always want you to taste this. She's the type that'll fix your plate so you can eat. She won't fix her plate just so she can sit back and look at your face when you take the first bite.
Very tall hobbit with 50 bits. He's gonna be devastated when he finds out Ben Shapiro's sister is married.
That's what a good girl does. She understands that the key to a man's heart is through food. And not a lot of girls know that nowadays because most of these modern day women don't even know how to cook.
Do you know how to cook? I'd argue most modern day people don't know how to cook. And that's not a good thing. I don't know how to cook, and I recognize that as a fault of myself. I'm an adult. I should know how to cook more than, like, tacos and burgers and stuff. But I don't, unfortunately. It's something I need to work on. But, like, it's not a gender thing. Like, the woman in the relationship is not somehow supposed to be the one to make food. You can both make food.
All they know how to do is Uber Eats. That's it.
In fairness, have you used Uber Eats? It's kind of magical. I push 3 buttons, and I'm on a break from Uber Eats because of how expensive it is. So, I need to not. But, in concept, I push like 3 buttons and food shows up at my door. It's magic.
All the girls are taking down junk food.
All they know is twerk, charge they phone, eat hot chip, and lie.
They're taking down sodas. They're making videos about it. Look how fat I'm getting. Look at what I eat. It's a shame. So if you come across a girl that still loves to cook, and she loves to brag about what she cooked, from her cookies to her cakes to her special meal that she has.
There are plenty of people who like to cook and have a passion over it. It's easier than ever to learn how to cook, too, with, like, the internet and YouTube and all sorts of tutorials. Like, Baha, my girlfriend, loves to cook. She really does. And she does the thing where she appreciates, you know, making meals for other people and then, like, seeing how they like it. That's a thing. And that's fantastic. Jake is the same, right? Like, there are people who cook all the time for their friends and significant others, and it's a fantastic thing, and more people, including myself, need to learn the skill. I agree. But it's not specifically a woman thing. Daddy Sume, cooking is not baking. Stop equating the two, you idiot. They're related. I know they're different, but, like, I understand why he's connecting the two, even though they are different things. Baha is trad wife. I wouldn't say she's a trad wife, but she does know how to cook delicious food.
That's a sign that you're getting closer towards a good woman. Last but not least, she puts family first. You have to understand, when you're dealing with a good woman, the family is going to seal the deal. The family is going to make the entire decision for her. If you're a bad dude, it may be exciting at first, but trust me, when it comes to a good girl, the family is gonna always cater her mind back into the family. You got a woman out there who's dad not in her life, yeah, she's more likely gonna keep following the bad dude. But if you got a good girl who has a...
Jake is a trad wife. I think you need to know how to clean a house to be a trad wife. That was mean. I shouldn't have said that.
Good family structure, and she still has her father in her life, trust me, you gotta marry the family. Not marry the family, but the family is gonna decide everything. She is going to put family first no matter what. If you go out with her and she's talking about family, and she's always talking about her little cousins.
He's cleaning the kitchen right now. That's good. I'm glad.
Cousins, her nieces, her nephews, her auntie, her grandma been married for this long. Trust me, that's what a good girl values. She's not gonna value who she knows, what she drives, where she been, where she's going. She's not gonna play the social society game. She's gonna play the I'm a regular woman game. You know?
You gonna rat me out to Jake on his next stream? For all I know, he's hearing me right now. If he's in the kitchen, and if Sarah's watching in her office, I don't know if she's doing that or if she's watching on a TV or if she's watching on a tablet. It's possible that Jake can hear me. If so, hello, Jake. I don't know why I make little jokes about Jake. Jake has been nothing but an amazing supportive friend to me. I am the worst. I'm the worst friend in the history of friends. I never talk to my friends. I never invite them to do things. I'm the worst.
What I'm saying. There's a lot of signs, especially to you guys that are studying these channels. You already know the difference between a good...
Because he's your friend, friends make jokes about each other, I suppose.
Good woman and a bad woman. It's up to your emotions. It's up for you to control it, to know how to handle which one that you're dealing with. That's what really matters. Remember, what's a bad girl to me may be a good girl to you. Another man's trash may be another man's treasure. You feel what I'm saying? That's just how life works. There's no set structure in life. There's no set structure of what the type of woman you should date. Everybody's reality and algorithms are different.
The tools of capitalism.
Daddy Sumo with 10 bits, and that means we are friends, Hannah, and me and Jake are besties. He makes so many jokes about me, he must love me. Sure.
Those are just my standards of what a good woman's gonna have, because I meet a lot of them. This is Anthony Spade. Hopefully I was able to get the message across. Comment, like, subscribe, share this video. Let's start sharing this video. Hasta la vista.
Out of this guy's content, that wasn't as bad as it normally is. Again, the prescriptive stuff in terms of what women should be, yeah, that's not cool, but like he's had worse content on the bell curve that is the MGTOW red pill, you know, scale. That could have been worse. It could have been worse. Let me see who's streaming and see if there's anyone I want to raid. Is Jake gonna stream today? Sarah, is Jake gonna stream anytime soon? If so, I'll raid him. If not, I'll find someone else. Ooh, Borat 2 comes out soon. I'm very excited. No, it's a soft day? Okay, cool. Who should I raid? I could raid Bad Bunny. I raid her a lot. She almost has 700 viewers. I kind of want to, just to see how high we can get her view count. She's had so many fucking viewers. Okay. Raid. So thanks everyone for coming to the stream. It was a lot of fun. That's way too much. Demon Mama is good. I've raided her a couple times. I'll raid her next time probably. We're on a lot at the same time. But yeah, thanks everyone for coming to the stream. It was a lot of fun. I'll be back tomorrow for Tinfoil Tuesday, so we will be doing conspiracy theory debunks and all that. It'll be a good time. Jake, if you can hear me, you're an amazing friend, and I'm sorry I'm a dick all the time. And that's it. So chat is valid. Thanks everyone, Have a wonderful evening, everyone. Bye. I gotta click this button now.